All right. And we are finally live. The last word. LordCognito, Ebontis, Ty Guy Travis, fresh on that Thursday evening season of the Seraph type energy. What's going on, E? How we feeling?
Good. Been spending a whole lot of time in a new dungeon, which means I've been having a great time because those are some of my favorite. The dawning is back and the ovens are busy and cookies are being delivered all around the solar system or all around the solar system.
Can I pause the podcast to just reflect on the sentence that you just strung together? Say, well, there's a new dungeon, so I'm having a good time because I love the dungeons. And also I'm baking some cookies, and I'm just like, what you guys seeing this?
This is the podcast of juxtaposition. That's what this is.
Yeah, for sure.
Listen, man.
If you caught the pre-show, only a few of you guys got that joke.
Let that man live his life. His favorite content.
Hey man, more power to you. Everybody's got their kinks, you know. You like being in dungeons.
Hey, I like cooking. I like.
Wow.
Hold on one second.
Oh, wow.
Christopher Sharp with the $200 super chat. Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for supporting the show, the channel, and everything else. Jeez.
Much love.
Thank you for accidentally hitting zero.
Yeah, I think you hit one extra zero on that one. I was like, thanks for the typo.
Refund policy.
Yeah, that's an accident.
Yeah.
He heard the thank you and he went, wait, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you for the $2,000 super chat.
What?
Oh, you shouldn't have.
Christopher Sharp.
Wow. Thank you.
Ode to you, sir. Wow.
Much love. Much love.
That's great.
Sure.
Other than that, yesterday did the charity stream for Game to Give. Helped raise almost $2,200 so far. Still got another week, but that was the big push was yesterday. So pretty good day so far. Definitely all for the little lights, so no arguments there. All in all, pretty fun past week. It's early part of the season, so hard to argue. We'll get to the story stuff, so I won't dive too much into that, but that was a nice surprise as well. And there's more coming next week because we know we got a quest coming. So I'm busy in the world of Destiny. What about you, Travis? I mean, I know one of the things you did.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of stuff. So this week I had 2 previews go live and a high profile review, which the 2 previews were for an upcoming JRPG called One Piece Odyssey. If there's any anime fans out there.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I went down to San Diego and got aboard a pirate ship and previewed the game aboard an actual sailing.
Okay, I heard about this.
They
It
had
was like a thing.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So that was cool. And then I also previewed Superfuse again, which is about to go into Steam Early Access.
I should probably check out my beta code that I got.
Yeah. They added a new character that's pretty interesting. So I did that, and then I also just got done reviewing High on Life, the Justin Roiland comedy shooter game. So super busy. Did I get to play Destiny? Yes, technically. I played Destiny last night at like 10 p.m. or whenever I ended up being free, and then I just 20 minutes before we hopped on and went live with our microphones, hopped into the dungeon and figured out the first encounter by myself. So apparently I'm now an electrician on Mars, is what I've learned.
There you go.
So that's cool. That's as far as I've gotten. I haven't done much. But yeah, I'm super busy. I just finished up a very busy year of reviews for me. 25 reviews.
Yeah,
this
brother,
year.
That's insane, man.
I think I'm
That's
done.
insane.
I think I'm done. So yeah, looking forward to cooling off, taking care of myself, and maybe cleaning my place up a little bit, and doing all the
Do a
normal
little
things
laundry,
that
the
humans
basics that you've
do.
neglected.
Yeah, love that stuff. So anyway, very excited to talk about Destiny. I'm liking this season. Fun fact, by the way, for those of you super chatting us, Ebontis has a long-standing rule on the last word where whoever is speaking when the super chat comes in, they are presumed to be the target of the super chat, and they receive the money. They get the money. Right? Specifically. So if you ever see us interrupting each other and fighting for
the super chat,
it's really just we're anticipating the super chats coming in, right? I was talking, it's mine, So
Somebody go back and check the tape.
Yeah, E got to hand it to you. I think that 200 was yours. So
I timed it well.
You win this time. You win this time, but we'll see.
You're gonna put timestamp associations with the
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I'd like to go back and
sure,
look.
Is this a paid speaking gig?
Yeah.
It's a paid speaking.
Yeah, it's
it's
contracted.
It's paid if you are talking when the super chat comes in. So just keep that in mind. All right. If somebody tries to interrupt you when you're making a point, they know something you don't. All right. So you stomp them down and you keep talking. That's my point.
That is how you have an amazing podcast. Cog.
Yeah. Cog, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good. Me and Travis kind of the same page. It's been it's been a hell of a year. It's been super. Oh wow.
Whoa.
And see, except by the time that came in, that one was going to that.
Here's the thing. That goes to Cog.
Yeah,
that's fair game, bro.
Cog was talking on that one.
No, but remember, he put that in earlier. That was he literally said for Travis. That's Travis. That's you, man. You heard that, man.
Hey, there we go, man.
Yeah, that's fire. That's fire. Salute to Christopher, man.
Christopher Sharp, you're the man, dude. You're the man.
It's good, brother. He's ready. He's ready for the last word. Yeah, but the same boat, man. It's been a hell of a year. It's just been, a lot of content, a lot of shows, traveling, obviously full-time gig, and then, doubling up on podcasts for the holidays. And then as far as gaming, definitely surprisingly been able to play Destiny this week. I mean, I know the clan. Shout out to Ducky and Buddha who got me through the Spire. I mean, what's called Spire? What is it called? The Tower? What is it? I forget the name of it now.
Spire of the Watcher.
Spire of the Watcher. Yeah. So we'll talk about that. We'll get into that, and then just been games has been Midnight Suns when I have a lot of time, and that one's been really addicting to me. And I just started Crisis Core. because I'm a big Final Fantasy VII nerd. So I wanted to, I've heard the stories of the PSP game. That's one of the ones I missed out on. So I've been trying to catch up on that weird little system that they got going on. But
what is it, Crisis Core one?
Yeah, they got it's modernized, but then it has this little roulette system thing going on that I'm trying to figure out. But yeah, just been that, and this game called Destiny. But I guess it's been patient, man. It's been we kind of know this guy. Let's bring him in.
Welcome to The Last Word, episode number 228. It's another somber day as the Night's Watch of community managers will be down one more in January as DMG moves on to a new future. Vex enemies challenged much of the community in the new Spire dungeon, and the story kept its momentum this week in the second week of Seraph season of the Seraph. The story of Destiny is leading quickly into Lightfall, and we have an excellent guest to discuss all these topics tonight. It's fair to say this man has been a gamer since the early years because he played so much his parents kind of busted him for it. No console warrior here, though. He is a fan of both Mario and Sonic and joined the PC Master Race when the time was right as well. A lover of all things sci-fi made Destiny an easy pickup. And when the story just kept getting deeper, the more you dove in, it really was a grand sandbox for his lore mind to wander around in. Pokemon Go started his content creator journey and really kicked him into the stratosphere, but these days, you'll find him breaking down Destiny lore and giving you some speculative food for thought about the future of this franchise. So let's welcome the creator of his own Destiny destination, Old Chicago, Game Awards class of 2021, part of Team Beardo, musician, lover, and I mean on a whole other level, lover of anime. If you don't find him walking the streets looking for Pokemon, you'll be lucky enough for his smooth vocals to deliver some Destiny lore into your waiting ears. The one, the only, PsalmLab. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Wow, God, you guys, you did your research. That's it's overwhelming. I think I've sat on the other end of this screen and listened to you do intros for other people, but yeah, I'm blown away. Thank you. Thank you.
Well deserved, man. The journey has been amazing to watch. I remember you from way back, and before we get into the accolades and the content and the lore and all that good stuff, I did want to ask you. Me and you kind of share something I've never really seen somebody put out there. Like, as far as gaming, I was so addictive to it when I was young. I also had my consoles taken away from me because my mom was like, "Yo, this is too much. This is too addicting. The grades are suffering." So you got to tell me your story because you actually wrote that. I thought that was so interesting because I was like, "Oh, somebody else went through that too." Tell me about your love for gaming and how did it get to that point?
Yeah, it's funny. The NES Nintendo was the first console that my family bought, but obviously it was more for me. And And as soon as I got into Super Mario Bros, that was it. I was addicted. I was hooked. It was an every day, every hour kind of thing. And for a while, like it would be me and my dad and my sisters competing, seeing who could finish the most amount of levels. And my uncle would come over and visit, and so he would get into it as well. And eventually, just started taking up way too much of my time. And one day I came back from school and it was gone. Console was gone. And I'm trying to remember the excuse that my parents came up with. I think they said something like, oh, like it stopped working, or maybe like a thief broke in and took it, something crazy like that.
Not the imaginary thief. Oh, no.
Yeah, and so they said it was gone. And I think my youngest sister, she was like, pretty sure it's in the attic. It's in the attic, and I didn't know how to get into it because I was probably like 5 or 6 at that point. But yeah, so that was how my gaming journey started, and then a couple of years went by, and then we got a Sega Saturn. Well, I got a Sega Saturn, which had I think it was the Sonic Jam collection. It was like the biggest collection they had at the time. It was like 1995 or something, 95, 96. And it had Sonic 3D, it had Sonic and Tails 1 and 2.
Nice.
Just everything, and I just fell in love with the stories of Sonic and Tails, and then obviously Knuckles, and that was like a rabbit hole for me, Sonic, big time, because I got into like the TV shows, the comics, everything. I was just like, I need to know more. But yeah,
you are one with the blue blur.
Yes. It's quite interesting though, Trav and E. Like usually, like most people are like a Mario guy or a Sonic guy. Like you're kind of both, which is rare in a sense because you kind of started there. But it's kind of interesting. You're unique in that sense, I feel.
I was both too. Although I will say, your guys' story of consoles getting it taken away from you, I have a very different relationship with that particular phenomenon. You see, I was too poor to own a console when I was a kid. I exclusively made friends with people I didn't even enjoy the company of, specifically because they had video games I wanted to play. And a consequence of that was that on occasion, when those friends would get in trouble and their parents would take their console away from them, I would offer to keep it at my house as part of their punishment. So I would often end up with my friends' consoles at my place while they were grounded, and that is how I played a lot a video games. So
that is the most genius thing I think I've heard of. Conniving child, you. What?
I was a grifter as a kid. I exclusively was able to play video games and eat food because I was good at tricking people, and that is that's
kids
true.
and adults alike, apparently.
Yeah, I was just a con artist, and so from one poor child in the ghetto in Oakland to your parents, I would like to say thank you, parents of Cog and Som, and those like you, for making dreams come true.
Well, thank you. You're welcome. You're
a beneficiary.
I really appreciate it.
Our guests never quite know what to do, but yeah, how you doing?
But you get
anyway.
That's funny. That's hilarious.
I had a question though.
No, go for it.
We actually also have something in common, Som, which is that we're both dyslexic. Which I don't have a lot of, right? You're dyslexic, right? Is that true? Yeah. I also grew up with really severe dyslexia. I think until I was like 7 or 8, everybody just thought I was stupid. And it turns out I just couldn't read super well. So I wonder if that has affected your gaming experience at all, or if you have some sort of relationship with that, because I know that video games helped me contextualize my dyslexia a lot, especially 3D puzzle games that could help me kind of like grasp, like did you have to do any of those special classes where they made you like hold the letters of the alphabet and that sort of stuff? It's something that they do for people with dyslexia, because it's hard to for people with dyslexia to understand unless they can feel the shape of it. It helps kind of make your brain understand what it's looking at. And so I don't know if I'd just love to hear if that affected your story at all, because I don't really get to talk to people about that sort of thing.
Yeah, oh my gosh. That's I think that's the underlining of like my entire gaming story and just creative career in general. So I was diagnosed with dyslexia at age 7. But they'd started to detect something was off by like from age 5, but I was the kid that read like every book in the class. But I just wasn't good at staying focused in like classes and lessons and listening to teachers and stuff. I just felt like there was a better way, a quicker way, an easier way. And that has like, that's one of those like double-edged sword kind of things. It's great in certain situations, but it's also really bad. It can be really bad in other situations. But yeah, dyslexia was like a major I guess stumbling block for me in the beginning, because it hindered like it hindered like my creative, like my career overall, like from school. So there was two things that were happening for me in school. Like I was being bullied, and then I was also dyslexic, and in the 90s nobody knew what dyslexia
Alexis
is.
was, yeah.
So it was loosely diagnosed is what I'll say. I was going to say ill-diagnosed, but that wouldn't be fair, because there was a lot of people working hard to try and understand it, but it was underfunded. So I was in the dumb people's class, you know.
Yeah,
I
for us,
guess
they call it special ed or something for us over here, and kind of thing, special needs kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's usually called it's like extra in the UK. It's like learning support or like extra learning support, something along those lines. And so
sounds a little nicer than it does over here.
Yeah, over here it's rough. Yeah,
yeah. Like you get to ride the short bus and you're on the special needs class. Like,
yeah, very, very disrespectful.
Well,
but
it's special services. So
yeah, no, this is good stuff, because to Travis's point, you know, Psalm, I was going to say, like, what was that turning point, and then does video games truly help in that regard, you know, while you were trying to overcome this, and why it's such a time where it really wasn't properly diagnosed. They kind of knew something was up, but it seems like it was still a process to get there. So I'm just curious about the overcoming part and the video game connection.
Yeah, so it's hard, because whenever I tell this story, I always have to give it up to my parents and just be thankful for them, because they pretty quickly figured out that I had an affinity for practical based activities. Then the diagnosis came, and then they like affirmed what my parents pretty much had figured out. But they like after the diagnosis, they realized that video gaming was really helpful for me as a coping mechanism for a lot of the social anxiety that comes with dyslexia, so many other things that I won't bore you with, but it was my therapy. You know, being able to game and disappear into these worlds where there were characters that were like me. You know, they had things that made them unique, that made them special. And that was how I coped. And so that was the big pull for me into storytelling overall. And so as a kid, I was constantly like making up my own stories or making up my own games. Like I would draw like the old PlayStation booklets. Like I would make a booklet, front and back cover, and like pages with the controller and how to move the character and like crazy stuff like that. But yeah.
That's dope, brother. Powerful stuff. Getty.
Oh no, I don't. That's that's actually kind of one of those things where video games have gotten a lot of crap through history for a very varied number of reasons and certain things, and they're blamed for a lot of stuff. And it is nice, especially for kids of different things and stuff like that going on. And you know, it's like whether you have access to it or not, if everybody has their different escape outlets and you never know what it is, but to actually have this one help you more than just like, hey, I want to have fun, like playing a game and shooting some guys, whatever. Like this is, again, like you're describing it as helping you through these times that are so much more. It makes a huge difference to actually like what your life would have been like without a video game, to imagine what it would have been to say, hey, I didn't get these consoles, I didn't get to play, and then your parents were able to help out as well. It's like it's a good combination of things. But yeah, video games for a lot of, I mean, you'll see more studies now that video games are actually helpful for a lot of different things when you actually see what they're able to do for, problem solving and all this other stuff and the way you think and like stretching your brain a little bit. And then, of course, as you said, the escapism and those types of pieces. So it's just really cool to kind of hear what it did for you, but also just kind of, turn around and say, it's like, thank your parents as well. Cause of course they were a big piece of that equation. Cause again, it's like, you never know if you're going to be the one getting a console. Did your parents play with you? Or was it more just kind of like your thing? Cause like I was lucky enough also to have like an NES growing up and stuff like that, but my parents could have cared less. So it was just like me and my brother's thing, but it was never my parents who played. So I didn't know if it was like a family thing or just yours.
Yeah, I think it became a family thing. My dad was like the first person to start playing Super Mario Brothers with me, and it was real funny because he would hold the controller like this and like use his thumbs to hit the A and the B key.
Oh no, yeah.
That's me. I'm a claw player.
Really? Are you
I'm a
still?
claw player. I've adapted,
Okay,
but when it gets competitive and I'm intense, I revert. Yeah, like
really?
I'm a natural claw player. Like that's just my
the claw's a good style still. I mean, a lot of
people
feel
it's more. What's the word? When like I have less latency to the controller. I don't know, just the way it feels to me. I just feel more responsive. But yeah, I have that. Continue. That was funny.
No. So I would play quite a few hours with my dad, like when he was a lot younger. And then like as I got older, it was more of a smarts in his thing. Like that for anybody who doesn't know, that's my first name is Smart. But yeah, that would be, so they would just leave me to do my own thing, and so I would just sort of disappear and be immersed into all the different games. But they were very helpful because it was like in the beginning they would buy me games, but then like the older I got, they would, and I think me and Cog were joking about this on Twitter the other day of like learning maths through trading in games. And like, so I mean, I get like every family goes through different seasons, but there was a lot of seasons in my life where maybe there wasn't as much money. Like, life is seasonal, we go through different seasons, and so it was important to like earn, like I had to earn my keep, like I had to do my chores to get pocket money to go towards like if I had an extra Nintendo 64 controller, I trade that in with an old game from like 2 years ago. How much will that get me? And you keep adding that up till you can buy that like 60 or 70 pounds or dollars game that's just been released. So it became a passion in a very obsessive way where I had like shelves of like games that I would buy that I hadn't even played before, or ever. I just wanted to own the game, and so I just kept building the collections more and more and more.
Wow.
And I miss those old PlayStation, the hard case plastic little pockets. Those were cool.
No, great stories. And again, shout out to your parents for going full circle, right? Going from kind of taking it away, we go restrict it to, you know what? No, this is helpful, and then to see where you go. That's pretty awesome, man. And then Trav, this game Destiny, right? That we played, and this man is a lore master too, man. He's got a lot of going on. But I know Trav usually asked the Destiny questions. So I was set about.
Yeah, you're the lore master, so naturally, what's your KD?
Yeah, good question. I mean, if we're talking about favorite lore, for me, it's everything to do with the 9, followed quickly by Rasputin. That's it. So this season for me is like a kid in a candy shop.
Yep.
Oh,
nice. What are the 9?
It's not KD.
What are the 9 specifically? Are they? I know they're Leviathans. What are they? What do they look like?
Well, they're bodiless. They have no shape. They're just they
are the final shape.
If they had to be described, dark matter would be the closest thing that anybody could really say in terms of what we've been told the nine move through, in, around. And so there's lots of different lore entries that talk about how the nine have been trying to use dark matter to seed their own existence. So that's their whole MO. And the first way of them being able to try and to hopefully achieve that was through the Ahamkara. And then of course Oryx took Riven, and then the nine had to get rid of all the other Ahamkara, which doesn't get discussed a lot. So there's still a lot of question marks in terms of, did they kill all the Ahamkara, or is there still some left? What's that egg in Mara's chamber? Is that an Ahamkara egg? Question mark again. So yeah, lots of mystery and intrigue, and then obviously their relationship with the Drift.
Yes.
How did Oryx gain the ability to take things? How did he become the taking king?
Ty, are you testing me right now? Live on air?
I'm just asking questions.
Oh, here we go.
What's up? You know.
So anybody in chat can correct me if I'm wrong, but he convened with the darkness, essentially. Tablets of ruin, I want to say, and he learned the ability to take after speaking with the darkness. That's the abridged version.
So
there's a lot more detail.
It's less interesting of an answer than I was hoping.
No, it's like, so we are coming
less interesting because I'm foggy in some of the details. I'll have to refresh my memory.
Yeah, you didn't know to read the entire lore of Destiny before you came on the podcast, so you can answer all of our questions, right?
The fly that we totally prepared for you.
Yeah.
You picked one more question. My least strongest topic, but yeah.
Okay, one more question.
All right, go for it.
Can you tell me where, like, canonically, using lore, why Titans are the best class?
Oh my god! I got a question after that one.
I mean, you're talking to a Warlock main, so
yeah, I know. I know you're a Warlock main, so I need you to.
Oh, here, I got a better question, Travis. I'll
explain why they're worse.
No, I want to see if he'll answer this one. Who would win in a fight, Osiris or Saint?
I mean, that's a real tough one, because I mean, I know I'm
quarrel.
Lover's quarrel.
Yeah. I think it's one of those battles that just go on and on and on. As much as until like either of their ghosts are,
and we know how it would end.
R.I.P.
The ghosts are like sitting there looking at each other, like, "Are we done? Can we be? I'm not just gonna. Just don't res him for a while. Let him think."
Yeah, I think I respect both classes, because the very first class I played was a Titan, and I love Titan for what they can do. And a lot of the time I'm frustrated that I can't do on a Titan. Like, I can't do what a Titan does, but on a Warlock, if that makes sense. Like, I hate that we're just glass cannons and we can't jump well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to use your dress to float down like Mary Poppins, so.
Here we go. There we go.
Hey, I mean, if nothing else, you got, I can't remember the Guardians guy who, on Mary Poppins, y'all.
Oh, yeah, you talk about, what's called it, what's his name, Xandor or whatever.
You know why I can't play a Warlock?
Why?
I can't get behind the armband. There's something about the armband that historically I don't know if
you gotta have arms to put the armband on.
Jesus.
Oh God! I'm a little slow on that one because I was making a joke and that hit me.
He just took me somewhere.
Yep. If you got that early or if you got that late,
something
I'm
about
sorry.
the way that Warlocks walk. I don't really get that. I don't know.
That walk glitched the game. Remember that emote glitched the game? They had to get it out again. Moving on. We went left. So yeah, my lore question.
Demonetized. There it is. That's where it
how's it demonetized? Come on.
Oh my God.
So about Destiny, before we get into this thing, I know we're gonna get to the season, we're gonna talk about everything going on and all that. But like, I know you're a big sci-fi guy, right? So I felt that probably was the natural connection to the game. But then, like, what was that aha moment for Destiny? What was that moment when you like, yeah,
the stranger doesn't have enough time to explain what she doesn't have enough time to explain.
Yeah, what was the moment? Like, whether it be something story narratively, gameplay, raid, activity, class, like, what was the moment you're like, this is my game?
I think it was Red War campaign landing in the EDZ for the first time and
He likes that. He likes that one.
Seeing Trostland, like that whole area of what is essentially Europe. It's so well, like it. I want to say it's so well written, but effectively it was written before it was made. But it just seems like everything is put in a perfect place, and it has like this vibe and atmosphere that really conveys that this is a post-apocalyptic place on Earth that is still trying to claw itself back from the Dark Age into the era we're in now in Destiny. And every time you land there, you always get that sense, whether it's like by Devram's by the church, or anywhere else where you're running the Lake of Shadows strike. I feel like that strike is a good example
one.
of like,
yeah. Especially like the rusted staircases. I always feel that area. You can sense the wear and tear,
kind
and
of like it's like post dystopian. Whatever happened, you kind of feel the collapse a little bit more there, as opposed to some other places that look a little. Whether it's alien, it's kind of hard to relate to. Be like, what does Nessus look like post the collapse or something like that? Versus Europe, and you look around, you're like, things were here, and a whole bunch of stuff went down, and it's been a while since this has really been relevant. So I get that. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think EDC has a lot of places to explore. I think technically it's probably one of the biggest maps just because of how many like subterranean levels there are. There's like dungeons that loop dungeons. There's like underground corridors that loop together that you can go in, or there's like water spilling in from the roof down, and just little like environmental narrative storytelling that's scattered throughout Destiny that I think Bungie nailed. And it's the thing that brings everybody back. No matter how many times you say I quit this game, you will be back. You will still be following Destiny on Twitter. It's a fact. Like I think we've all been there. Like not in a bad way. And I'm sure people who work at Bungie have been like, you know what, man, I'm so tired of this game. And then they see something cool from one of the other departments, and they're like, damn, I love this game. Like, this is good. So yeah.
No doubt.
I wanted to actually ask you where, before we get to this season specifically, do you have like a favorite like moment that happened in the Destiny story itself? I mean, outside of like the 9 and the characters, but do you have a favorite like climax of a story or a season or a raid, or just like any seasonal moment that you really enjoyed the most? And then also, is there a moment you hope happens in the future that like the lore might foreshadow for you? The favorite past and favorite future, or hopeful future, I should say.
Favorite past? There's so many, but I guess I'll kick off with I want to say, I'm like quickly opening Bungie's website so I can find the season that I want to reference. Season of Arrivals. Man, I loved that season. The pyramids entering Seoul, and us landing on Io for the first time and seeing a pyramid above what is the, I always forget what it's called. Where the last place the traveler's light touched on Io. The word is totally escaping me right now.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. The cradle. That's it. The cradle on Io. That moment of like floating being pulled towards the pyramid, and obviously it was the witness then speaking to us. And yeah, I thought that was just very cool, because it was one of those moments where you weren't sure what was going to happen next, but you in crazy amounts of anticipation for what could happen next. So yeah, I love that moment.
Top 3 NPCs lore-wise, your favorite characters in the Destiny universe lore-wise.
Ooh, so it's a top. I have a top 5, but right at the top,
we can do that. Hey, you got the 5.
He knows them. Yeah, he's done this before.
If you got the 5, you ready? All
He's
right,
like, I've got my
5.
S tier, A, B.
Yeah,
He did
you
a
got the
tier
5.
list. Yeah, his tier list.
Let's go. Right at the top. I interrupted. Continue.
For level of complexity, Eris Morn. Hands down. She's one of the most well laid out characters, I think, who has she's like an onion. There's just layer after layer after layer of like what she's been through, the wisdom that she has to offer, like her quick quips and snarky replies to the Drifter, and then her whole relationship with the Drifter, that blew my. I was like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah, they're messed up enough. I could see that happening.
And she likes you in real life.
Yeah, that's
I know the actress.
Morla,
Morla loves some song. Always gives it up to you in real life. Salute.
Yeah, I appreciate Morla. She's just genuinely super kind and just friendly, and yeah, she has supported me when I've been like in that place where I've just been like, oh, I don't know if I want to keep doing this. And she's like, no, your stuff's good, keep going. I like your voice. And it's just like, what? You're like, I look up to you.
That's fire, man. I saw that interaction, man. I was like, I'm so proud. But continue your list.
Yeah. Yeah, followed by Rasputin. I love Rasputin. Again, another character.
So you're going crazy this season. Okay.
Yeah, he's a complex character, with a lot of history. I think, yeah, there's so much to unpack with Rasputin as a war mind, and golden age to collapse, to Dark Age, to after the Dark Age. There's just so much lore about him and about Clovis Bray and the Bray family, and how all of that interweaves is crazy. Like, this season is exciting because we're seeing some stuff being fulfilled from previous seasons, and web lore, Pillory Engram, Pillory Station. I'll drop some of those hints because there's some lore that dropped this season that specifically references something that happened in a web lore entry that's 2 years old or a year old.
Okay.
Which is really cool because it was hints to Neomuna before that was even on the map.
Nice.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I was like, they're stringing together their overall arc of this saga. They've kind of had some good ideas for a while, and we'll drop hints here. And as we come closer towards the end of this saga, how do you feel?
Hold on, he ain't finished his list though. He ain't finished.
Oh, sorry. List first, and we'll get to the future.
Yeah, we got.
He didn't even get to my future, but yeah, go.
Yeah, we'll get to your future, but give my list.
Yeah, number 3 probably Ikora Ray.
All right, I'm like Warlock delegation. I was getting upset. I ain't get Warlock yet. I was okay. All right, well, talk to me. Okay, Ikora, break it down.
Yeah, Ikora. It's really interesting because if we think back to Red War campaign, where we had to get the light back, and we had all those light projections explaining to every warlock who became a warlock why you're a warlock and what it means to use the arc subclass, which I like. I love
one of the favorites. Yes. Take the figures. Let's go. Continue.
Yeah, Ikora just has she has a softness and a fierceness that I respect, and I feel like is such a healthy way to present a female character in a non-stereotypical way, especially as she's a black woman too. So it's really nice to see a character who we get to see like all the different sides of her. We get to see like the super clever side of her. We get to see the sarcastic side of her. We get to see her when she's like ready to break everything. And she has this power that we've only ever had glimpses of a few times, but we've never really seen like the full scope of what she can do. Same with Zavala as well, but yeah, she's my number 3. And then number 4, it's probably gonna have to be Failsafe. I love Failsafe.
Hilarious.
She's hilarious.
Kind of sad that she's just hanging out there on Nessus, but yeah.
I'm really hoping they find a way to weave her in this season, because she's the only other. She's one of the only other AI, Golden Age AIs still active, apart from the ones we've gathered. So it would make sense if we visited Nessus, but I'm hoping. I don't know if that's gonna happen.
And 5, apparently, you gotta go.
5, Kate 6.
Nice. Good choice. Good choice.
Nice.
Can't go wrong.
R.I.P. K6.
R.I.P. K6, no doubt. Okay, I got what I needed.
Oh, you're good. No, I was like, and just kind of to know, as we're in season 19, we got about 8 seasons left of this thing if they keep on track for what we got for this saga. Now, granted, most of the story might wrap up in final shape, so I don't know what season 25 is going to be, but now through season at least 24, is there anything that you feel like needs to happen to kind of, like, there's a lot of dangling threads in this, and there's only so much time that they've got. So what do you think are your most important things that you feel need to be seen, finished? Others can be left open. What do you think needs to happen before, when we have the final shape expansion, we get to that last mission or raid or whatever? What do you think needs to happen between now and then?
How much time do we have?
The abridged version.
I don't know. Give me a couple high points, like 2 or 3, like just a couple big ones that you're hoping to see happen.
Well, we know we're gonna. It makes sense that we're gonna eventually see an encounter between the Witness and the Traveler in their, in the most flower garden sense possible, because we've had so many lore entries about the garden and the gardener and the winnower, and then being in the gardener and the gardener sowing seeds and the winnower reaping the crop, and the whole prime universe, which is the original universe before the universe Destiny existed in, came to be. And then we have the 9 who are going to show up in some way, because Neptune sits within their jurisdiction. That's all I'll say.
Okay.
Then we have the potential of obviously knowing that an Exodus ship escaped and made it to Neptune, but we know that Xur is technically a reanimated Jovian, which was a colony of humans that made it to the Jovian system. So it's going to be interesting to see if that gets tied up and how it gets tied up, because so there's still a lot to happen between Lightfall and Final Shape, and then Final Shape itself, and then whatever happens to conclude all of those things. But there's a lot. There's some lore entries that talk about like a future way beyond the last city, and wayfaring ships that drop in from light speed and stuff, and how they're all the ships are made up of different parts of ships put together. What's really interesting about that lore entry is there aren't only human ships in that space colony. There are like ships put together with like pieces from other like races too. So it'll be interesting to see if like we get to that kind of future. So yeah, there's lots, and then we have like the Cloud Striders, which are a crazy interesting concept. And today I was thinking about how if you were gonna add in another playable race
Mhm.
who happens to have their own kind of ghost,
Mhm.
Cloud Striders would technically be a good fit for that. So I don't know what Bungie's planning.
Could you imagine
but
if Lightfall, they give you like a 4th character slot and you can make a Cloud Strider? Like, the world would just explode.
Yeah. And remember, Luke Smith had an interview a while back with
Dr. Lupo, right?
Dr. Lupo,
Mhm.
and they were discussing. Well, Luke Smith like pretty much like dropped a dime on. I don't know if it will happen because everything's always like subject to change. But the idea of us being able to get our own
Fish.
fish. I've forgotten what they're called now, but yeah.
Pets.
Start with a P.
Puka.
Yeah.
That's it.
Puka. Yeah. Because they're in Fortnite. I've seen it there.
Oh,
Like,
God.
what is that
Yeah.
called?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just kind of where I'm intrigued. I know Lightfall is going to be like Neomuna, Cloud Striders, Callus, Pyramid Ship, Neo. Like, there's a lot that's going to happen there. And granted, like the campaign, probably 8 missions or whatever long, but so much other stuff kind of surrounding that. Like, I mean, we had the Parasite mission this last time, which was just a ridiculous like experience when you finally got around to it. Some earlier than the others, but yeah, I'm just kind of curious what they do with that one. And then again, if we get a destination for Final Shape, I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm very intrigued to see where this whole thing wraps up. So I was like, I'm not even as deep into the lore as you, but it's always just nice to see somebody like, I mean, especially right now, you're like, oh, I'm hoping for this. And then they go, here's Rasputin and all this stuff going on. You're just like kid in a candy store for lore right now. So I know you're eating well at this point. It's a good season for you. So speaking of that, I actually kind of wanted to roll in as we are in this season, because this week just, felt just as strong momentum wise as last season. There's no like, here's your breadcrumbs from last season. This is another one, because guess who walked in? Elsie's like, what's up, by the way? I was waiting. I was like, come on, Anna's around, got Clovis, and then sure enough, you walk over in the helm, and she's standing there, and I'm going, okay. And then they chatted out. She still doesn't want to talk around Clovis. Like, do you really trust him? And all that stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to get your guys' take on this week's story and kind of the mission. I had a little frustration on the operation, because I just the like little GPS node did not explain very well where to go.
Yeah, where to go.
Yeah, because you're like walking to the corner. I'm like, okay, I'm here now. What the hell do I do? And it's like, go up, but it's just like slightly unobvious the way it was. Yeah. So outside of that, though, curious what you guys thought of this week's lore and story.
Anyone jumping in? Because don't let me talk. Because I'll go.
Go. No, you're excited. I know you're chomping.
Literally, I'm staying quiet because I know I won't shut up for a good like 20 minutes.
Did I miss anything?
It's
really?
early.
I mean,
I'm sorry. No, Trav, go, please. No, please. Go ahead, Trav.
no, I was just gonna kick off. Like, did I miss
kick off.
anything?
Okay.
I played it, and it was sort of like, it kind of just seemed like, all right, we got another piece of him. It's sort of, another week of that. I assume it's leading to something, but I kind of didn't really get any major info drops or anything out of what I played last night. So I don't know if was there some secret?
So I was like, Cog wants you to take it, but I was like, from like kind of a run through perspective, the high notes that I noticed mentioned is the fact that one, Charlemagne, was actually mentioned. That was a very important piece, because that's the one from a while back. And then two, it was more just the idea of, for me, it was Elsie just coming into the picture, being part of it. So those were the two pieces. Was Charlemagne, because last time it was Malahayati, if I'm saying that right. I don't quite know. And then Charlemagne this time. I'm like, Malahayati I hadn't heard before, but Charlemagne definitely heard of that before. Yeah. So those are my two.
I'll jump in. I mean, it was really exciting for me, because I'm a huge fan when the Warmind DLC came out, expansion came out. So, obviously Rasputin story. I'm not as big as a Rasputin fan as Psalm is, but I understand, the importance of, controlling the war sats. This is the greatest, human technological invention, and it's kind of sentient and has its own personality or whatever, right? So I've always felt like Anna's relationship and connection to it is it's very intimate. Like, she treats Rasputin, she talks like it's a person.
Well, it's like Red, like the way she references him. Yeah.
Where Clovis is interesting to me is he's like, we need to utilize this And why are you giving them their own intelligence, and you don't understand the true scope of what you could be. Like, he seems to be controlling and empowered for the best of humanity to do potentially destructive things or whatever, right?
He's the best of his own intentions, nobody else.
He reminds me, because I'm a big Mass Effect 2 guy, he kind of reminds me of my man Trav, the elusive man. He's kind of got elusive man energy, where it's like, yeah, you're pro-humanity, but you're so over the top with it, right? You willing to do whatever with it. So I love Clovis because he's unapologetic about it. Like, he's in your face. So when the season started, I'm like, okay, that's a good dynamic. We get to see Anna and that. But it was, like you said, E, the missing piece. We all know the Strange is supposed to be here. We all know Elsie. And the question was, would they do it? And I know it's a small thing, but to see both of them having the quarrel in front of the Clovis bot, so to speak, was great. And then Clovis, like, clowning his granddaughters. I thought that, like, I love that little interaction, as small as it was. And that's one of the things I always used to get mad at Destiny, where they tell stories in these little 1 or 2 character silos. We're gonna focus 1 and 2, and that's it. And now it's like, no, we only 3. And oh, by the way, yeah, Cyrus said, oh yeah, oh, by the way, Morsov is here. Yeah. And then everyone has their piece. But the mission starts off, I like those missions. I think it's unique. I like this little, this little thing that's searching and hunting you down from a tower standpoint. That, like, the
stealthy,
the war mines, stealth mechanic. The war mine will kill you, so to speak. Kind of thing. You get in there, you do the mission. Obviously it's the Charlemagne thing. I thought that was great. I'm gonna say something controversial. I always give them hell for reuse assets, but it was something about being back on Mars for that one little mission post the Charlemagne thing. I was like, man, I did miss this face.
Oh, yeah, we were literally doing escalation protocol. I'm going.
So I'm like, yo, I do miss this joint. Like, the little tower rose up from the ground. I started to smile. I was like, I know they're playing on my nostalgia. They get me, Trav, but it's one of my favorite pieces of content. So I'm like, I got this. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, the story continues, and then obviously, look, we cannot trust Clovis. I don't trust him as far as you can throw him. I think he's still up to something.
Well, no, like, my issue is that exo body is made for Rasputin. Yeah. So we're trying to combine the war mines in there, but Clovis also has control of that. I'm like, can we, like, separate those two? Because we're about to have an Ultron situation, I feel like, going on. Like, it's going to go down real bad.
He's not to be trusted. There's going to be some crazy spin. The last
I trust him.
You trust him? Oh, okay.
Let's give him the keys.
Yes, that sounds like a great idea, sir.
Let's give him matches.
Hey, man.
Let's also go upstairs while the murderer is chasing me. That's smart too.
Yeah, and that was funny. The last thing I'll say, I thought Mara had some sage kind of advice.
And that voicemail with her and Anna was really good.
And she threw some subliminals, as far as first of all, the relationship between her and the stranger was interesting, but she threw some subliminals. I felt it was kind of an Aldrin slight reference as far as some comparatively, how things could go, right, with this type of thing. So I want to know where they go with it. And no, I thought it was good. I thought it was good. I really look. I will say, so far, I love the playable activity. I love the contest mode light that gives the ramp up. It's rare when I do the activity multiple times and I'm not bored and I'm still into it. And so I know it's honeymoon stage. We'll see how long it goes. But so far, this is my favorite season right now in a long time.
I will say about the activity with that little, like, mini contest, like, levels, whatever. I can't remember what it is. I like but I think I'm like, I was like, I'll go pick that up. I'm like, well, do I want to do that right now? Because I got to change my loadout. Because actually, I got to play a little serious in there. Because I can't just, like, I can't half-ass in there. Like, I can't just, like, let me go and whatever. It's like, no, I got to make sure I got barrier, unstoppable. I got to make sure I'm holding my own in case my teammates do, just kind of halfway it. So no, it's a legit
and you got the little mechanics before you get into the room where you got to do the thing and you got to separate.
Had a new one this week too.
Yeah, I was like, okay, well, that's me. But I'm sorry, I know you two got more to say, so you've been chomping at the bit, so I know I talked a lot. So
yeah, this season, by far my favorite season. I will say, before I talk about the gameplay, story-wise, narratively wise, it's very on purpose that they've chosen 3 of the characters who have the most insane amount of lore entries and history in general in Destiny, and threw them all in together. Like, well, 4 in fact, because if you're including Osiris, Clovis Bray, and then Anna and Elsie, and then Rasputin as well, who are all connected because Mara, the original people who were the first awoken were all on the Yang Liwei colony ship, and so Mara knows all about the Golden Age and Clovis Bray. So you have a whole like subset history that we've never really heard her talk or interact with until now. Then on top of it, you have Elsie Bray, and we know that Mara has like powers and stuff, and we know that she regularly talked to the Nine, and we have no idea how much the Nine told her about what's supposed to happen. And we know the Nine do this because we did the prophecy dungeon, so them telling us the future isn't anything new. It's just usually in riddles and like mysteries that Mara seems to be good at figuring out. But what's cool was getting to hear them talk about their relationship this week. If you haven't if you haven't played this week's mission, probably stop listening now. Spoiler warning.
Spoiler.
But yeah, that was great too. And then obviously, what's really exciting is getting to see Clovis interact with a post soul system. Because he was only around for the Traveler, but he wasn't around to see everything else that happened after that. So he's playing catch up. He has no idea what the Hive are. He knows who the Vex are for sure.
One second. His disrespect of magic is hilarious. Everything he talks about in a very scientific and logical sense.
It's like, that could be totally explained by blah, blah, blah.
So Cyrus is like, you're going to learn today. You're going to learn. But I'm sorry, continue. I thought that was hilarious writing. Continue.
I definitely agree with you. His whole like logical sense of viewing everything is funny. But yeah, he's completely gonna backstab. I mean, if you've listened to anything Clovis ever says, is full of like contempt, conceit, and every possible worst thing you can ever imagine. A former human being who was obsessed with himself and his self-replication. So, and Rasputin happens to be something that is of value to him. So he has another game. My biggest fear is that he completely sabotages and like merges himself with Rasputin.
That's what I
and
think.
So we don't.
Travis alluded to that.
Yeah, and that we don't get a full Rasputin reborn. We get like a refreshed Rasputin with a little bit of Clovis Bray attitude or like superiority complex. But the two kind of
do it.
It would be kind of interesting.
It would be.
Rasputin's like AI war mind knowledge with a bunch of sass. Like,
Rasputin
Rasputin
is a cool idea, but he's not much of a character, right? He speaks a different language. He beeps and boops at you. Clovis has personality, and I think that
Clovis is an ass. That's his personality.
I love it.
But okay, but counterpoint, who cares? You know who else is kind of an ass? Cade, Zavala. A lot of these guys are kind of asses at times. Their humanity is sort of their best part about them, I would argue. Also, y'all are being kind of hard on our boy, Chloe. Can I call you Chloe?
Chloe!
Oh my
Wow, we're giving him nicknames now? Okay.
Well, why we don't like Chloe? What's up?
His ego is so big. He built a mechanical head like the size of a small building, and that still doesn't fit his ego. It's ridiculous.
First of all, Cade 6 had a big ego. Okay, a little obsessed with himself. Y'all loved him. Y'all were sad when he died. Okay.
Yeah, but I will tell you that Cade went down with the ship. Clovis would be on the first escape pod off of that ship. It's a very different character.
I mean, he stayed behind hey man, he's
Mhm.
stuck with us. He's still here. He's very pro-human. All I'm saying is,
Mhm.
giddy up. Let's get it, Clovis. Let's do it. You and me, we're
he's-
gonna unlock Rasputin together. I'm gonna
If
give you
there's
the
an
keys to the
artist,
car.
if there's an
You do-
artist
you do-
listening
you
to
do what
this
you do best.
podcast, please drop some fan art of Travis just sitting down having like some breakfast with the big Clovis head, just chatting
Hell
away.
yeah.
I need that. I need that. If there's an artist that listen, hit me up on Twitter, please.
yeah.
Like I need to see this. This is Travis. Travis loves Clovis. Now we know.
I do. I think he's more
But
interested in
Cade didn't
Rasputin.
torture his family to gain immortality.
Look,
Okay.
I'll play a
He's got a
little
good
bit.
point back from the dead. Jeez.
Maybe he should have thought about it. Maybe he'd still be alive if he did. Okay, Cade. All right, buddy. How about that? All right, that's all I gotta say. So, I would torture my family for immortality. Easy. What? For sure. You can
But
kill your
you doing
family.
it.
You're immortal. You're immortal now. You can just do it again later. Like
Well,
you can't.
At least now we know where Travis's morals are.
Now we
Anyway,
know Travis sits on this side of the fence.
Whatever, bro. All I gotta say is Rasputin boring. Clovis cool.
Clovis
Let's
do
see.
hotness.
Hey, at the very least, you can't deny it would be interesting.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah,
Narratively.
definitely.
I
Yes,
mean,
yes.
No, I agree.
talk about throwing
well.
a wrench into the machine, but I'm a little afraid of what that machine's capable of doing then. That's all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it's
think
capable
it's
of kicking
highly
ass.
possible.
Mm.
It's
Yeah,
well, it's very probable because Bungie did like, okay, we've already given you a repackaged, some repackaged tile sets with a couple of really good tweaks. Do we really want the same Rasputin back? Because even Osiris isn't the same anymore.
Not the
Like
same,
he
yeah.
doesn't have the light.
Right.
We don't know what he's gonna have next. He's
Mhm.
already talking about the new power on Neptune, which we know to be which we know is Strand already.
Yep.
Which, by the way, backtrack. I want to rewind
go.
a second.
Let's go.
Bungie. So Strand has been in the game since Season of the Splicer,
Really?
and y'all
Educate.
were looking at it in the face when you entered the Expunge mission, and the very first corridor that you walk into, where Curia is talking to you. That
Mhm.
entire space is green, and it's the same shade of green that Strand is. And so as
Interesting.
you go through the dungeon, so I did a video about this. I was super obsessed about the connections between what a splicer does and what Strand is. And the final connective point, I like to think, this is like speculation,
Give me that Psalm
is
lore. Let's
what
go.
Mithrax did with Nezarec. With Nezarec's.
With that Nez
There's
Cafe,
a
was
very
it?
specific sentence about why Mithrax was the only person who was able to see the connective strand. Like it literally says connective strands to like get the dark power. But the weird thing that's going to happen, like, so Nezarec isn't gone. I think we're just going to see like a reincarnate Nezarec. It's essentially what they gave us. When you watch the animated short, you see that Mithrax is like holding his head,
Right.
and you can tell that whatever that exchange, there was a price. He paid the price so that Osiris could be reawakened. We don't know what that price is, and I guess we'll find out later on. And it would make sense if that doesn't start to happen until Final Shape, because Final Shape is all about the final versions of like the light and dark and whatever else that Bungie wanna throw into what the Final Shape is. Yeah, yeah, because it's because the battle between the Darkness's whole thing is about test and test and test until you can become like the most perfected version of whatever it is for survival. And so it makes sense that then we would go into Final Shape, and that's like a large part of the focus is the I guess the apex equivalent of whoever is still around going toe to toe to finish this thing once and for all.
Interesting. Gotta see where it's gonna go.
Yeah.
A lot of threads.
I said too. I read too much lore.
No, it's good
That's
though.
great.
Like, gotta have some of you guys that do this. That way we can
Yeah.
kind of have an idea what's going on. But no, I mean, this is for a season going into Lightfall. Obviously, the lead up to expansions have been cool. Better rivals. We had Lost. Lost had obviously the crystal was there the entire time. We had that kind of like moment at the end. Arrivals had the pyramid ships, obviously. So we kind of had the little thing there. Do you guys think at the end of this season we're gonna have that, kind of moment, whether it's a little cinematic or do you think there's gonna be a finale that does something that sends us to Lightfall? Because we're gonna probably have our story that's 7 weeks. Week 12, week 11, last couple of days, do you feel there's gonna be like a bonus to send us on, or do you think they're gonna keep that trend going? Because I mean, previously, I guess we had like the cinematic and Traveler waking up and like the, all the darkness coming in, doing the Destiny content vault, which was its thing.
They were the Destiny content vault lore.
But then you had the crystal break and all that stuff that happened as well. So it's like just kind of that final moment. Is that going to be the one where Clovis tries to screw over everybody and take the Rasputin body? Is it going to be something small, or do you think it's going to be grander than that?
I don't know. There's a lot of pieces on the chessboard right now.
Well, the one that I wonder about is and again, this is where it's like you look at the press kits, you can see some of the images. In Zavala's office, Mara's standing there. You got the projection of like Caiatl over here, Mithrax over there, which you were mentioning now. Mithrax, if he's tied to Strand at all, that might be a time to like literally weave that thread all the way to the end. And then Anna's standing in the room as well. It's like I don't see Elsie in there, but it's just all those people in the same room. Like I am curious what happens in that discussion, because there's a lot going on there. And that's this season. That looks like a Lightfall cinematic, and yet it's happening this season sometime.
No, I don't know. It would make sense.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Not that much of that. I was just gonna say I really don't know what's gonna happen. There's just a lot of pieces on the chessboard. They do have to set up Lightfall well. This is the big expansion, so I expect something pretty. Let's say cataclysmic. Something's gonna happen. It's just Clovis's deviousness. Then we still have the Xivu Arath threat. And some comments were made about this is some of the reasons why Savathûn did not want to face her sister dead on. Like she don't want the smoke from what I'm understanding. So Xivu Arath is being built up a lot. I'm noticing even more so now. And then correct me if I'm wrong. So Xivu Arath is the one responsible for at least getting Sagira killed or something initially, right? Like before the Savathûn thing. Because I always get confused because I remember it happened kind of off screen, but then we saw a little bit sentiment. I just wanted to clarify. I thought it was Xivu Arath.
Yeah,
that was responsible. Yeah.
So what happened was
break it down.
In season where's the Bungie page? Season of the Hunt. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Season of the Hunt.
So there were lore entries about Rasputin, because what happened is we lost all the planets in the Sol system: Titan, Mercury, Mars, and Io. And Rasputin went to go and find out what's going on. Then he started discovering the cryptoliths, and he was following them and observing. He was doing research and observing what was happening to other alien races when they came in contact with the cryptoliths. Long story short, they were all hypnotized or being converted. He went to the Dreadnought, and that's where everything went wrong. And he was cornered by Xivu Arath's family. It was really. I was going to say it was.
Yeah, it was
that's
like
right.
High celebrant. Who was down with Xivu. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Sagira sacrificed herself to save him.
Out of there. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
And then we learn later on that Savathûn found him there.
Right.
The thing with Savathûn is like she's been the puppet master pulling all the strings behind the scenes, and so we're still going to be discovering up and even into before Lightfall, into Lightfall, all the things that she set up. Now, granted, she didn't calculate that we would beat her and she would die, even though she's technically not dead, because
dead,
Imaru is still alive.
Amaru
So
the ghost is,
Right. So there's this whole where is Amaru thing, and if he's able to get to Savathun's body, will he be able to resurrect her? So Savathun's not like fully off the table until it's confirmed
she's in Aramis territory. We know she comes.
Right.
Like it's not even a question. Like she's the thing though, and the last part I know we go deep learn stuff and we got to 12. But the thing though is too the Nez Cafe thing that Osiris drank, from my understanding, is he can now understand what her motivations were, what she was going to do that would theoretically now lead us to.
Well, he has all her memories.
Right.
He has all of Savathun's memories.
That's gotta that's gotta break a human's brain, honestly. For as old as she is, as much as she's been through from way back with,
which is why Akora thinks Osiris is losing it.
Right. And then there's a push-pull between those two right now. If you notice, you know, what he said. And then he's almost broken too, because you see his vulnerability. He's just like, I need this to be right with the dungeon. I have a hunch. I need that. Something's going on there. Ikora won't let me, and I need it. And he's proven to be right in this case. There was something going on. So there's something deeper going there too. I agree.
Yeah. And the I guess the pot that's like boiling over at the same time is how the Vex are quietly, obviously, but quietly like coming back into the picture in a big way, because although we've kind of faced off against the Vex, we've never really seen their final shape.
That is true.
But yeah,
they need one.
We know that there are so many different sects of the Vex, and then they're all like they're not necessarily in agreement. Like there's the High Coven Vex, and then there's some other types of Vex, and then there's the Vex that keep coming back from the is it the future or the past? No, from the past into the present. And so that was a big deal when to do with this dungeon, and seeing them trying to go after aspects of going after minds of Rasputin. It's a really weird play that at this point the Vex would be doing that, because they've had years to, like, Rasputin's been around, so it's really weird that they chose now to take that opportunity. And I think that's to do with the fact that, like, Ziva Arath wants the Warmind Sat network, because they're going to calculate and figure out what would be threat to them, I assume, and then they'll be like, okay, no, we need that, because if Ziva Arath gets that, like, we're all done for, because like Anna said, it doesn't have to be at full power to do colossal damage.
Yeah, and there we have it.
All right. Well, yeah, so we'll see if they can keep this pace up, but it is 7 weeks, so depending on if they have kind of enough events happen and maybe a twist somewhere in the middle, it's, not like a 10-week season where the story would be too long. Hopefully 7 weeks they can do pretty well with it. Speaking of also something that seems to be affecting the lore, we also walked our way into a new dungeon this week, technically on Friday when it launched. Psalm, have you played it yet? Have you played through it? Had a chance to?
So I've done like the first 2 encounters.
So you were at the top of the Spire?
Is it the top? Yeah, I think it's
the Consecrated Mind or whatever.
Oh no, I'm not even that far yet. I'm
gotcha.
like connecting the nodes.
Are you doing your
electricity? Yeah, that's where I'm at. But I've read all the lore.
Okay, well then, the lore.
I always have to stay ahead.
Well, is there like a lore setup you kind of want to let us know? Like, why are we going to this Spire? And then I know Cog, you and I both have played it. Travis, I know you haven't got in there yet, but we can kind of break down what actually the encounters are.
If Travis wants to know.
Travis, do you want to know the lore?
I'll leave.
So let's not spoil. Let's not spoil. We can just talk in general terms.
Yeah.
I don't want you to leave. I need you here.
bro, just
He's like, bro, I'm just gonna leave.
Yeah, because
I think I've done that before, right? I fell behind one other week, and I think I dipped.
Nah,
Or we get
it's cool.
spoiled.
It's cool. We can wait. You guys have held off what I've missed, and
Yeah.
it's all good. We don't have to get
I'm
that.
planning
We don't
on
have to
doing
get
it like
Mhm.
tonight. It's just
Yeah.
with the
No,
review.
bro,
No, I
you
know.
know,
You've been
you gotta
busy.
explain
You're
yourself.
good.
You good.
No, it's one of those. This dungeon, like I highly recommend that people play it through, because
Mhm.
once you get to the end and you read the lore, you will understand so many things about like where we're headed next, for Lightfall. So I'll say that much.
No doubt. And all I will say is that it was, I'll be honest, I was at first a little underwhelmed, I'll be honest. You know what I'm saying? But I love the last encounter. And I want to, and I do like the loot. Shout out to Ducky in there. Oh yeah, they hard carried me. Him and Buddha hard. They was like, Kyle, you just get over there and you worry about the ass.
So don't die.
You
You do
It's
this.
like you did not pass electrician school. You go over here and we will handle this part.
You're in the
And then when
apprentice
it's time for
program, and those are the master electricians.
I was a trainee. I had the trainee jacket and the vest, and they was like, "All right, DPS, okay," and that's my cue. You know what I'm saying? And then I really like that last encounter. I thought the encounter itself was great. I have a nitpick, but I won't spoil because Travis haven't done it yet about what we're fighting. That's just a nitpick. But other than that,
Mhm.
I am good, you know what I'm saying, with that. And like I said, the loot was fantastic. And, there's some lore implications. And I mean, it's not spoiling, he gonna know this. But my man was involved in the beginning of it. And I liked his whole, motivation and frustration with where he's at with the Vanguard and respect level and trust level and that kind of stuff. I thought that was interesting with Osiris. So yeah, when Trav gets in there, we'll definitely talk about it in full depth. Because I'm curious to get his stuff. Opinion.
For at least me, trying to keep it a little vague, because if you haven't jumped in.
Dungeon Master.
It's going to feel interesting now versus when, say, I'm like level 1605. When I hit all pinnacles plus like the artifact versus where it is now. Now, one thing I don't know if you guys have noticed and haven't probably had a reason to go in and look, but they literally took the master difficulty or the high level difficulty away from duality. They took it away.
Really?
It's gone.
Really?
Somebody said that in chat and I went to go look and it is gone. And I don't know why. This is the only one that has a difficulty on it. The old ones, it's gone. Like dualities is gone, and what's the grasp is gone. Those had difficulties and they are not selectable. And it's not like my character hasn't done them before. It is just not there. So I'm like, I don't know why they made that decision.
I think it's to do with because I think there was a period of time where there was a lot of people trying to get their solo completion, and a lot of people just being genuinely frustrated with how almost impossible it was to run that dungeon solo and not break your PC because
What,
it
on
was
Master
that
or
difficult. Yeah, on Master.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was like,
So
I never saw that like announced or anything, but they're just, if you have a link.
Stealth tuned it down.
Yeah, I was like, I didn't know. I was like, it's in this one right now. There's obviously a higher difficulty for, I don't know if there's anything you need to do in there. Only when it's rotation, it's master. Huh. Maybe that's it. Because, yeah, it was Shadow Throne the first week, Pit of Heresy this week, which I ran last night. And I was curious because I ran through Pit of Heresy last night by myself, kind of getting a feel for, just was doing a Pinnacle and trying to see what one's like solo. Almost had the solo flawless last night on Spire as well. During my stream, I was close. I was like,
wow.
Damage phases left to go when with regards to the final fight. I do like the final encounter. I'm with you on that. The mechanic is, the mechanic's like all the way through the whole dungeon. Obviously, there's going to be a thing to it. If you're good, it's actually going to be quick. And I think I like that. Gato said it pretty well, is like, there's not like a giant prep to do damage phase to titles, like Nightmare or whatever. that takes a lot of prep and warm up and going back and forth and setting up all these things. Like if you're fast, especially with a group, you could like set up a damage phase really quick.
Yeah.
So being able to like get really efficient at this dungeon is actually going to be pretty fun, I think. Especially for multiple people doing damage. I know there's a piece of it, the middle boss encounter. I know that's going to rub some people in a certain way. Also, that's not a new thing because we've had use of previous things in a similar fashion. If you go look at Duality, your boss encounter looks identical to something that you've seen before as well. So it's a combination of, and it makes you wonder. I know we're not.
That's the part I can't wait for Trav to get to that part. That's the part I'm waiting for. I need to Trav smoke for that because I know how I felt. And I was like,
it's a bad encounter. I take it.
No, I'm not gonna say much. Just where I want to just when you get to
this. I still need to do it, but the one thing I know about it besides the electrician part that I just did right before the show is I was playing Crucible because obviously that's what I do instead of doing the dungeon that I should be doing. And I saw somebody on my team was wearing the armor from that. The cowboy armor. And I was like, God damn, that is a cowboy in Destiny. And I was kind of I was like, shit, I need to do that dungeon. Yeah, long little doggy.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Well, if you know about that, then I will say, there's a theme to the loot from the dungeon that is very thematic to that. I will say can I say that it's Tex Mechanica related? Is that spoiling too much?
It should have been coveralls, really, based on what I've played so far.
Denim jacket and everything else.
Yeah, denim jacket and maybe something that shows off your guardian's ass crack.
Assless chaps. Yeah, just go with
demonetized.
I'm blue collar, man. I'm blue collar. Gotta.
No, I wanted to ask. Okay, so you got cowboys are involved with the loot.
Yeah.
I
get the Tex Mechanica.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask Psalm because I know Blackwings had said it at some point. There's a reason Tex Mechanica is tied to this, right? There's a lore connection. Is there something between like Tex Mechanica? Was it like a Braytech thing? Is like something's there? Do you know? I feel like he said that. Is that accurate? Am I full of crap? Like, is there a reason it's Tex loot?
Yeah. Yes, I'll say that much. You'll like if you. I won't give it away, but if you want to go read the lore, this podcast is sponsored by Star Collective. No, I'm just kidding. You can go
that channel.
He just went and told you to read a bookie. I hope you know that.
Love
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can go
read a book, Titan.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, but all the answers are there. But yeah, there's a good reason. There are some heavy lore connections to it. I have a good grasp. I'm not 100% sure. I would defer that to other expert lore masters because I'm definitely not an expert. There are some of us who have truly mastered retaining the copious amounts of like information. I'm more of a predict the future, and I'm not blowing my own trumpet, but I've been pretty spot on with like the last 4 seasons in terms of understanding like where the story direction
where
is
the
headed.
breadcrumbs are going.
Yeah, very Osirian. Let's just call you that. Very Osirian. Got that.
You can say that.
Natural.
But yeah, there's a connection there with the text and many other elements because it's not just that, but yeah, there's 2 other things you'll discover.
No doubt.
But yeah, I had a question for Ty. I noticed you haven't said much about have you done the seasonal activity for Season of the Worthy yet?
The heist battlegrounds.
The heists battlegrounds.
Oh yeah. I've done those. Yeah,
Okay.
I recognize the rooms. I'll say that. That's not really a good look. But the actual activity,
Okay.
I don't really care for the first one that they make us do every week, but then when they tell you to go back and do it again, weirdly the second one feels like it's way better designed for me. It's a little more difficult and that sort of stuff. I'm like, all right, this is cool.
Yeah, when you're
I just don't get why they make you do it twice. I feel like we could have skipped I get why they did it the first week, because it's like they're introducing the activity. But then every week, I guess we're gonna do it twice. I'm like, yo,
you got to do the low level one, kind of get a feel for it, and then you can go get ramped up for the high level one. Apparently, I don't know.
Do I appreciate that they make me go and play Crucible in between? Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. You know, they make me go and earn those cards or whatever. I got to get my crypto.
Oh, your key codes. Yeah,
I gotta get 500 cryptocurrency.
Cryptocurrency so you can open the chest.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fine. For me, the seasonal activities they're always like, well, they're not always. Sometimes they suck right away, but usually they don't suck right away, but they suck after the 4th, 5th, 6th time. I am glad I only have to do it twice a week though. That's a nice feeling. But yeah, I mean they're all right. It's mindless killing things. I'm running around, sliding around with a shotgun, whatever.
No doubt.
How did you feel about the tile set, the maps?
The new maps in Crucible.
No, the new maps in
the Battlegrounds.
The mission in the Battlegrounds.
No map in Crucible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we know.
Yeah, we know.
New maps in Battlegrounds? Am I missing something?
No.
Is that the activity you do after, where you go and I can't remember.
Yeah. I thought maybe you would have picked up by the way I asked the question, but yeah, the maps in general in the Battlegrounds, what did you think of them? Because I know Cog kind of breezed past it earlier, but I was interested to hear what you thought.
The bring back of the
repeated
locale.
Use of certain bunkers and such.
Gotcha. Are you talking about the actual activity where you went to the exact same place, or are you talking about the thing that he touched on earlier about going back to the escalation protocol area?
Well, both.
Oh, okay. Escalation protocol area. So when I got to that area, my first thought was, oh, it's kind of nice to see this place again. And then as soon as we started fighting there, I was like, no, it's not. Because I think I've seen a lot of love for escalation protocol, and I get that people like something as soon as it's old, but I'm like, yo, escalation protocol was not very good. I hate to break it to you guys. It was a busted activity. It was busted.
It was broken. It was broken as far as you could.
Remember how you had to stand there and wait for somebody to get into a queue with 3 people they knew, and then dude, F that, dude. That sucked. That was terrible. It was like literally like
that's harsh.
40 minutes of just like me trying to make your own matchmaking. It was like Bungie asked us to design the game for them that season. It sucked, dude. It was bullshit.
We were matchmaking electricians.
It was terrible, bro. It's not a throwback.
But it was a mess trying to get that shit.
It was a mess.
Wow.
And then when you get 9 people in there, the only reason it was fun is because 9 was not the amount of people that they had designed the activity for, and so you were just stomping it. But it wasn't balanced. It wasn't like a good activity. It was like
for what they did to the 6.
We were all laughing at how busted it was because we found a way to break the encounter, and people look back at that and they go, "Man, wasn't that fun?" And I'm like, "No, it wasn't fun. It sucked. What are you guys talking about? It was terrible. It was not good at all, dude." I spent more time standing around talking shit about the game during that season than I think any other time, because there was so much dead air, dude. It was me just finding different ways to roast the game. Yeah, because unless you were lucky and you went to LFG and they were like, we already have 3, we're just looking to fill. And those all filled up so quick. People were like, immediately doing that. Then do that, you were one of the guys either A, chilling on Mars waiting for somebody to pop up into, or you were the guy going to orbit and going back. And that literally kill my family, bro. Like I was not down with that. It sucked. So I don't understand why people have how many good feelings for that. So I wasn't stoked for that. And then in the actual activity where you go into the bunker, I was sort of thinking to myself like, okay, it's a new location. Is it going to be a different bunker? And then when I got down there, I was like, if this is different, I can't tell. So this sucks. So yeah, I'm not super happy about it. But that said, it's not the worst. It's not the worst activity they've done. I like that there's a hard mode. I like that they only make you do it twice. I wish they made you do it once, but am I amazed? Does this change my opinion of the seasonal model and the weekly routines they make you do? Not really, but it could be worse. I think Escalation Protocol is overrated. And if you're an Escalation Protocol simp, I dare you to go back.
Fire.
My God.
I'm going to be honest.
It was a house fire. It was a house fire.
What are you saying, Psalm?
I was going to say, I have to admit, I did really enjoy Escalation Protocol. However,
don't be ashamed to have fun in front of Travis.
He said, however, let him finish.
Say you had fun.
However, I understand the frustration that Travis described, because I had the same. I was that guy. Jumping back and forth from orbit, looking for a session where there was 2 or 3 more Guardians and just me running between 6 Escalation Protocol towers.
I want to talk about terrible things that we had to do. Remember the old, well, I didn't find one of my friends, but there's a random here. Should I invite him to the party and see what his whole deal is?
It was the friend game.
Oh, and then you invite this dude to the party, and then you find out that he's some psychopath, some button down, monster who's vaping into the mic.
Oh my God! You gotta learn to mute.
Eating a wet burrito and going hey, what do you want? You want to do Escalation Protocol? Well, let me tell you about the problems with my girlfriend first, and then maybe I'll invite you.
They did invent a mute button. Been a minute, but they did have a mute.
You couldn't mute him. You were asking him a favor. You were trying to get him to help you with something, and it's just
I don't know.
I think at that point you might have to take a little longer and go find a better person, because that guy is not worth your time.
I know. I'm just saying those conversations chilled me to the bone of and then you already have a party of 8 people, but then you find a dude in the world and he's yeah, I'm willing to play, but my friend and I are already together, so you have to kick somebody out. And then you have to have that that Sophie's choice. All right, one of us has got to commit step 2 right now. Yeah. Dude, it was not good. I don't understand what you guys are just deleting all the bad memories, and all you're remembering is you jumping around and throwing 900 knives at an ogre's face.
Oh my God, the Nova Balls was crazy in there, son. What? It was.
I'm very much
clearly flawed.
I'm very much between the two of you. I didn't love it like Cog. I didn't absolutely loathe it. Mine was more just kind of disregard, partially due to Travis's thing, because trying to actually get into a functioning group that's doing it just sometimes happened. And it was you get to an instance and there's enough people playing. You're hey, I think there's enough people in this instance of this bottom part of Mars that's going to actually kill the stuff. I'll hang around. But it was one of those that I didn't go out of my way to look for, because of the frustrations Travis had, that there was way too hard for 3 people, and getting the weird 9 together was just kind of lucky. It was it had its, and then, I was I did not love it like Cog did, though, because it was
great. It was revenge for what Bungie did to us. They thought the nerve of them to think that was going to be a 3-man activity, and we banded together. We broke the system. We hacked through their little matchmaking. It was amazing. And then we demolished those bosses. And it was we tanked the frame rate. We did everything to them bosses. And we got all the Ikelos loot. Remember how hard that loot was? Remember all the stuff you had to do for that loot? Oh, it was fantastic. It was payback, baby. And we was in there. There's nothing they could do about it. They couldn't patch it. They couldn't fix it. This was your seasonal activity. We got you, Bungie.
I wish you could listen to yourself just on playback, because your argument is that it was terribly designed, but it was cathartic.
So he had to break it.
Got to get back at Bungie by breaking the game. Yeah, I'm sure you really got back on them. They didn't build a game and then you got back at them by playing it a lot. So I'm sure they're just reeling from that gut punch that you delivered to them by playing their game a whole bunch. You know what I mean? Oh my God, you guys are you're such a simp, Cog. Such a bootlicker.
For escalation all day. Come here, baby. Come here, escalation. Let's clear you out quick in 15 minutes and get my day back. And give me all the loot while you're at it.
Wait,
just not played.
Here's a question.
Psalm, can you bring us back
ch-
to planet Earth somewhere between these two
It was a fun
chaoticians?
time for me.
Well, I tell you what.
Place on Mars.
Let's talk about Season of the Worth. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Oh, that's worse.
Oh god.
God damn.
That's worse.
I was gonna say, what is that public event worse than Escalation Protocol, or same
Which one
level?
was that?
It's throwing the balls at the little
That
tower
was
in the public.
worse.
Oh, that was-
you had to get
That was
the.
worse.
That was worse.
that was-
that was
Seraph
definitely
golems.
worse. Yeah.
That was worse because that was the first season that they added matchmaking, and then they added matchmaking, and you were like, okay, that's great. Too bad I don't want to play this activity.
Yes, I agree. I
Yeah.
did not like that. That was one of the worst ones. I agree.
So there's no perfect solution to these.
No, there is. You could create a good activity and then also make matchmaking for it. Those two things are not only achievable,
Those are
but
not
super
mutually
easy.
exclusive. Yeah.
You
No,
really look
yeah.
at any other video game and they do it all the time. I don't know
I
if you've
agree,
heard, but
yeah.
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 It-
Especially
it-
the
yeah,
legendary.
I just
We talked about it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The 6-man activity
it
shit.
took them a while. It took them a while to figure out the formula, and I
Mm.
still think they haven't figured it out all the way some of the time. And I'll take the current seasonal activity over the days of Escalation Protocol any day. And I think when people
course.
look at those rose-colored glasses,
I
I'm
never
like,
said it was better. I never said it was better. I just said it was
think-
fun.
you think we're having fun, but I feel like it was a group shitstorm that we all experienced together, and we sort of.
Great.
It's good because we all survived it, right? It's like we all are war buddies. We fought in the war. It was brutal. It was bloody. We all have trauma from it. But
We do.
now
have
you go
trauma.
and you see your war buddy at the bar and you go, "Oh, I love you." Weren't those the good old days? Not
think-
really. You just
I think, yeah. I mean, I think you're not wrong, Travis, because I think when you look back at anything that's like quite a while ago, it's easy to only look at like the things you appreciate and forget like the absolute terror you experienced trying to even play through that content. Like Season of Arrival's public event was amazing, but there was tons of things that was wrong with that public event, even though I still think it was one of the better versions of that style of public event where you have like 100, that's an exaggeration, guardians show up in one space and essentially completely destroy
Wasn't
event
that the one
bosses that
where
aren't
we were
supposed to be there.
basically just doing the public event again?
We were doing, it was collecting motes and depositing. So that's why it was like, it was,
Repeat,
destroying
yeah.
taken bubbles.
repeat.
Yeah. No, I didn't like that either, man. I can't get on board with that one. I don't know, man.
Has there been any
I-
public event you like?
Yes. Look, what did he like? Ask him that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think there might. I think there might not be.
Exactly.
Honestly-
There's no fun in this man. This man don't want nobody to have fun.
I mean, I want everybody to have fun, which is why I'm encouraging.
See the scale that I'm
better.
dealing with? See the scale? There's
Look,
nothing he like.
If you didn't have people like me, then they would just be like, "Oh, I guess they think that this is fun," and then they would stop trying. But there needs to be somebody going, "This isn't good enough."
No, you're the
You
balance.
can do you guys do better than this, absolutely.
Of course,
So
of course.
I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, Menagerie was fine. It was
More.
definitely-
Oh, thank you. See,
That-
that's nice.
that wasn't a public event, but it was an
6
activity,
man.
a seasonal activity that I played a good deal of, and
Alright.
it was rewarding, and it was more fun. There are some that have gotten
The light shine through, brother.
I still didn't want to have to do it over and over again. I don't know
Okay.
if anything's
I
going to
respect
convince
that.
me to do that, but yeah,
But it
I'm not
touched
a
your
hater.
heart. It touched your heart.
not
You
a-
smile.
I'm not a hater. I'm a critic. You can't take the critic out of me. You just never can.
this is
Not trying.
literally, this
I
is
just like
literally
you to smile.
cog in most discussions on this podcast. Hey, here's the subject you might be sensitive,
That's
might
great.
have issues about, and I'm just gonna poke and just make sure and be like, oh, that has that twist and turn, and just like constantly just be, oh, you feel uncomfortable? Let me just go ahead and set a fire under your ass too, and just make it even worse. So you're squirming in your chair while I'm poking you in the side, then kick you down and just throw sand on you, and it's just looks like, how you feel? You feel good? No, you don't. That's what. Yeah, okay, all right. You feel bad.
Enjoy when people are annoyed. Sometimes I admit it's fun. It's fun. You gotta
Have
like,
you heard of
he's
the
a critic.
phrase?
I like to
Have
push
you
back.
heard of the phrase "Schadenfreude"? Because you live in that.
I do.
Yeah, you
That's what makes the show fun.
Well, we can't go too deep on the dungeon. We will save that for sometime in the future. Apparently, maybe.
Shout out to Christopher Sharp. His $200 super chat's about to go away.
I know it's been sitting up there. I'm like, man, that thing is hanging on for the whole show. That is the beast of all super chats. But we did have a TWAB, not too much, really. Obviously, a bunch of stuff about Game to Give. Shout out to all you guys who have donated through me, through everybody else. Totally, I think it's up to, where are we at? 621,000 so far raised. You guys did $2,185 last night just from my piece of it. So shout out to all the Game to Give pieces. Iron Banner is coming back on January 3rd. So stay tuned for that over your holiday break, because this is the last TWAB, so keep that in mind. If you get your Triumph, I will say the shirt for MMXXII for the Moments of Triumph, I like the, like wolf on top and the couple, the Traveler and the Pyramid ship and stuff in there, so that's a cool one. How are you guys on the Dawning, or is there much worth discussing there? Are you just like, I'm not cooking and I'm going to abstain from talking to Eva?
Let me be the dissenting, happy, positive opinion again.
Okay, there we go.
The Dawning is my favorite event.
Oh my God.
That's the only one I like. I like the cookies. I like moving it around. I like the colors. I like the snow theme. I like the snowballs. I don't know. It's the only one I like.
Hold on. We got some moving and trading, and we got white powder going on. I think I know why you like this. This is your outlet for something you may not have got into in life earlier.
Yeah, I got a hustle.
This is your hustle. This is your hustle.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, so what do you like? Oh, okay, all right, Banshee. So you like okay, and then who need the snickerdoodles? Okay, let me go put the products together. Let me go mix it up. Then they gonna make me get my little subclass. Who need impossible heat? Let me get my heat on. It's fun. It's stupid.
There are so many levels of wrong with that phrase. Let me get my heat on. But anyway, moving on. That's mini entendre there.
Stupid. I should like it. It's the same activity all the time, but I think it's the thematic nature. And I'm a New Year's guy. New Year's is probably one of my favorite holidays. I like to celebrate. So and I think this year's armor is a little weak though. Normally Dawning armor is like my favorite armor.
I'm actually kind of I was looking back through all the sets because it's like complete the set, complete the set. And I was like, I kind of like the Titan one this year. And yours,
the Titan was y'all came off.
You look pretty good too though. Like there's a little bit of fur, but not much. But like last year was like all the little like dangly jewelry things that were which I was not a fan of. Like this was, I kind of like the right amount of flair this season.
It's a bit of a loot explosion. It's like once you get a chance to get a gift of return, you get to unlock some stuff, and they got a couple more weapons. I felt didn't correct me if I'm wrong. Did the machine gun ever debut at this event, the exotic one, or that was another?
Heir Apparent. That's Guardian Games.
Sorry, so I got that wrong. Okay, so anyway, it was the new pulse that apparently you reload and you get multiple kills. It has a perk to give you a gift. An ingredient that you don't got. Whatever. That one's kind of weak, I admit.
The origin trait for the Dawning. Yeah, that's a waste. That is absolutely a waste.
But look, they killing me in the chat. Yo, they killing me. But at the end of the day, it's just a silly event that I've always liked. I don't really like too many events, to be honest. That's like, I think that it is.
Well, I mean, you got Guardian Games with like your aerial zone. You got Festival of Lost which lately is Haunted Sectors. Previously, it was the Haunted Forest. We've got this event for the Dawning, which is baking cookies. Snowballs, I will say, are a nice addition, just because of the stasis freezing, and like those are actually functionally something you can interact with at least. That they're kind of nice to have for. They do more damage than you think they would when you chunk them at a guy. What's the other event? Guardian Games?
Guardian Games. We all agree Guardian Games should be way more than what it is. That's a missed opportunity.
Yeah, right? There's always something they could do with like Guardians against Guardians 3v3. Do a PvP mode there. Something. Yeah, of course. I totally agree.
I think it's always a time constraint that they're usually so invested with what comes after Guardian Games that there isn't enough time to make Guardian Games as big as it should be.
I don't like the Halloween one, to be honest. The masks. I've never been a fan of that one. We're missing one more.
I'm like, what am I missing? Like, what's the other seasonal? Because you got the Dawn. There used to be, but
it.
Yep,
they deleted it.
Oh,
what do we forget? We
forget one way we go to the
Solstice. Delby
yeah,
Prescott.
Solstice.
Yeah,
Isn't
Solstice.
that mixed with Guardian games? It's like
Guardian
Or-
Games is Solstice is the aerial zone. I'm sorry, I put those
That's it,
together. Solstice of
Right.
Heroes. Yeah. Yeah, Guardian Games they could definitely do more with, I think. The PvP, especially like, Guardian versus Guardian versus Guardian, the classes against each other, the obvious like 3v3v3 or something like that at some point I would love to see. We've talked about that before. Dawning
Yeah, I
with the
think-
snowballs kind of has its moments, but yeah, it's like, Solstice has its own damn zone. Like, yeah, it's one activity in a zone, but like that's the one I feel they've put the most effort into. Just now, granted, they made the zone like 3 years ago and they've been using it for a while. So they're getting their like money's worth out of the efforts with some, enemy changes. So
Travis is killing me. His face right now.
but it's like that's kind of the toss up of like, do you want a different zone or do you want to do a lost sector that has like a purple pumpkin in it? So it's for the seasonal event, they're light, they're Eververse events. That's what they always are. I mean, you got those
you've
kind
got
of things.
you've got to build in breaks as a development team somehow.
Yeah.
Right? Rather than straight up saying, "Hey, y'all, we're on a break. See you in 2 to 3 weeks. No new content," and everyone's like flipping tables because Bungie took a break publicly.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what it is. They put some massive effort in early, and they've been just reaping the rewards of having Eververse events every season that they can use them for. And that's not, but he said it right though. They are constantly working and not every game has something to do every single week, and yet they manage to somehow fill, you got Iron Banner here in a couple slots now, and then you got your seasonal event and you got your moments of try. Like they're trying to give you for a $10 season enough stuff to keep your mind busy if you want it to be there, and you don't have to, but somehow they fill these weeks up, and it's just that is kind of what they are. So again, like if you think something's pretty, buy it. If you don't.
I will say to Travis's defense, I don't like this budget card thing, this acceleration card that's happening
the event funding
on everything that you could pay $10 or whatever, and you can fast track to the. I'm like, what? Like this new thing now because I know it now. It's more visible because Dawning's my favorite, and I'm like, the Dawning ain't had this before.
Of course not, but this is the third time it's been around, so welcome to the party, by the way.
We never had the easy pass lane on the door.
They're charging you. They're charging you money for an event that used to be free.
Yeah, that part.
They are.
Shout out to
You don't
DJ.
have to buy it.
Yeah.
You didn't have to buy it before. The event's still free.
No, but
to participate in the event, really, you have to complete those activities, and that's locked behind a card. It's stupid.
No, you don't. You do not have to pay to participate.
If you want to unlock those things in the card.
Yeah, how does it work? I don't do the card thing.
Yeah.
So
Yes, if you want to unlock the things on the card, but that's the same as going to Eververse and buying a cosmetic there.
But the things on the card are the event. They're all like, do this event and complete this thing in the event. And you can't unlock them if you don't have the card.
Yes,
I get
that. Therefore, it's stupid and pointless unless you buy the card, which is also stupid and pointless.
And
the only thing I plan on baking in that oven is my own head.
It's $10, and if you complete the event, but what it's going to give you like an emote, or like an exotic emote and an exotic ghost shell, I think, which alone would be more. So it is, and then if you complete the event and you engage in the event, you actually can earn more. So it's like you can see how far you get in the event, and then you can decide if you want to pay and unlock it or not. But theoretically, if you pay $10 for an event card, you'll get more cosmetics through that than you would anywhere else. I'm not shilling for Bungie, but to say that it's like worse than like, hey, one set of armor is 1,500 silver, or the entire event card that you get the other stuff through is 1,000 silver. Like it's
worse. It's worse because the card gives context to the event. You're completing activities that are on the event card, and you don't get the rewards unless you pay for it. Therefore, the activity itself, the entire event, you can't really participate in it. You can participate theoretically. They show you the progress report, but it's sort of like behind glass, and they're like, you can't even really participate in this event because it's not really about the reward.
You can get the whole seal, which is all you would if they did triumphs. You can get the triumphs and the seal. The only thing they're giving you is the option to buy cosmetics. You can, and if the card wasn't there and they're just like, hey, there's dawning triumphs, you could do the triumphs without getting cosmetic.
The event card is the event, though. It has all of the activities you have to do in the event that you have no reason to do if you if you didn't buy the event card. So it's like saying, hey, this event is happening. Here's all the stuff you could be doing with the event, but you can't do them unless you pay money. Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude, because it's not the same thing as you know, like, oh, hey, here's things that you can earn if you do the activity, and you could have just bought them. It's here's what the entire event is about, these objectives on this card, and you can't even complete them unless you pay $10.
Really?
That's you can complete them if you can complete every objective without spending a dime.
Okay, that's the question I had.
Can I click the turn in thing?
Yes.
On those?
Yes.
So you
ask me how I know. I've done a lot of them. I doubt you have. So
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's done. It's so basically,
if you go to the
what is the $10 for? That's
the $10 is for cosmetics. If you spend $10, you instantly unlock 2 cosmetics. Okay. Then, as many tickets as you earn from the event card, there are other cosmetics that you can use those tickets for. Do you want another emote? You could use 7 of your tickets that you earn on that by doing things in the event. So you get 2 things.
Are those cosmetics still available? Are those cosmetics different from the things currently available in Eververse, or is there like?
That's my point. Is they're unique? The ones that are on the card, correct? Okay.
Well,
I haven't seen those anywhere else anyway.
I don't think they are, but okay. So, but you're still spending money for the cosmetic if you want it or not, right?
You're spending money to do the activity. That's my point. Is you can do the activity, but there's little reason to do it without the card.
But I mean, like, there would be no reason to do the activity if you didn't care about triumphs either. Like, if they just gave you a seasonal, like a seal that was like, hey, it's star, I forget what it's called. But it's whatever if you're going to get the title for Dawning, you could go through and do all the triumphs and just be like, oh, cool, I have the Star Collector or whatever that's called for free.
Here's the question. Is there anything you can't get by not paying $10?
Sure.
Correct. There is. All of the stuff that's locked behind their card. So that's my point, is that, look.
That's the seal name.
Oh, that's the seal name. Okay.
You can get the seal. You can complete the triumphs. That's all well and good. That's not changed. But the rewards for doing it are locked behind the you getting the card. Your checklist is locked behind doing the card. You can complete those, and you can get the baby rewards that they give you by completing the triumphs.
Like an emblem, you'll get a shader, you'll get one of each weapon just by doing the things.
They're charging you to engage with their game, which they're getting 2 things that they want, right? Which is ongoing engagement with the game and for you to pay money. And the reward is that you have to earn the stuff that you basically just bought, right? So it's like, work for us and then I'll give you the thing that you paid for. That's basically what it is, right?
I prefer to y'all. I want that card.
I get what you're saying, E, that you can earn the shitty rewards and turn in the triumphs. I'm saying that the entire event is like, hey, here's the checklist of things to do. And if you do them all, here's the rewards you unlock. And instead they're saying you can do the event, you can engage with it, but you have to sit behind the glass window with your face pressed up against it. Unless you pay $10, you're not going to get any of that stuff that you earned in the game. It'd be like if they said anybody can do the raid, but if you want to open the loot chests at the end of each encounter,
that is not the same.
You have to.
That is not the same.
Money.
You cannot say that is the same. That is not even close.
Okay. Do you not know how analogies work, Ebontis?
I get
it's
that,
not
but
literally the same, but it's the exact
but
same
you're
idea.
Saying one is, here are your weapons and your loot that you can't get if you pay money. That is exactly the opposite of what's happening. You can go through all the triumphs and you earn one of each of the weapons. You get a shader, you get an emblem. No, do you get the cosmetics that you buy?
I think you're focusing on the details of the analogy and missing the point, which is it's the same thing. They're making you complete the activity and saying, here's the rewards you would have gotten. We're going to go ahead and give those to the postmaster, and you can claim them once you pay me $10. That's what it is.
I got it.
It's not weapons. Does that matter? Does that matter?
I was tempted to boot up Destiny just so I can
look at everything. Yeah, my screen's occupied right now. Okay, so imagine it this way. Imagine it this way. You have the amount of stuff that you can get from the cosmetics for $10 if you engage in the activity is more than you would ever get for $10 in the game. As a whole, you get 2 emotes, you get like a Sparrow. I think you get a Ghost Shell. You get a Transmat effect, which I could care less about Transmat effects, but those are all cosmetics. You spend $10 and you get 2 things already without engaging in anything at all. You do not have to throw 1 snowball to get 2 emote. The exotic emote and the Sparrow you get for spending $10. Those 2 alone, separately, in any other instance in Destiny, like what does an exotic emote in Destiny cost you for silver? At least probably 1,000 silver or more. Then on top of that, you get a Sparrow. So what I'm saying is,
yeah, I think you're focusing too much on the economics of the perceived value of a cosmetic item, which fine, people can have their. I would never pay $10 for a fucking cosmetic item, but yeah, it's have your own values.
Point for you anyway. That's the whole idea.
But my point is that the whole idea behind engaging in the event is that you have goals that you want to get, right? Like, hey, do all the things on this checklist. What am I going to earn from it?
5 weapons, the currency. You've got shader. You got an emblem.
But those are the baby toys. The big ticket items are behind the glass window, right? And they're letting you know that it's there. So my point is that what is the event exactly? Is it a loose list of random stuff that you do to get tiny stuff, or is it one package where if you do all of it, you unlock big items? And if you think that it's just a loose checks boxes of, choose your own adventure. I want that triumph. Okay, I got 2 of the weapons I wanted. I log off. Then fine. But to me, the event is we made this activity and there's all these things you can do. And if you do all of them, you get stuff. And if you do all of them now, you look at the event card and you have to pay $10 to get that stuff. Is that not
when did we get
correct?
Stuff before? When did they give us like that? That's the whole point. Like, if I'm saying is like, when this is a way for them to give you a discount on something that previously you would just be like, here is the Dawning has arrived. The Eververse is full of stuff. Now the Dawning has arrived. Here's this one bundle we made. And if you engage in the event, you can get even more in this bundle. But normally it was just, here's the Dawning. You can do some triumphs if you want to for some weapons, some shaders, whatever, your low level stuff. And then the rest of it was in Eververse just anyway. So how is it different that it's $10 over an event card versus it's in Eververse? Like you've always had to pay for the cosmetics. That's my point.
I get what you're both saying, because it's a case of, I mean, essentially from a marketing standpoint, it's a way to incentivize Eververse items in a way that puts it in front of the player, if that makes sense, so that you're getting extra value from a season that you already get value from, if that makes sense. But like, here's another way for you as a player to be more invested in a season that hopefully a lot of players
okay, hey, I'm just hold on one second. I'm just gonna say, because I feel like I'm on my own little hill here.
No, please.
No, chat. I was gonna say, chat, if you guys think I am the crazy one in this discussion, just put a 1 in chat. I just want to see a whole bunch of 1s show up right now if you think I'm crazy. If it's not, then let me know. But I just want to know, like, if I'm like dying on the wrong hill, a 2.
I just think
I don't think you're crazy.
I don't think you're crazy either. I just think you're confusing. I think there's a lot of stuff going on here. One, Psalm, what you said was extra value. Is it extra value if you have to pay for it? Right? I think of extra value as like additive, right? You have to pay
from Bungie's perspective of, because here it is at the end of the day, and let's just call a spade a spade.
No, they're all ridiculous. Chat, you guys are just Chat is fired tonight. Chat is fired. It started with a 2. We got pi 3.14. 2. I got 1 in there. 2 1s. Thank you. 2 people think you're crazy.
Trying to find a way to balance everything, right? And this is it's funny because E represents one side of the coin, and Travis, you're the other side of the same coin. In that they know that there are some players who will be like E and be like, hey, I know what I've been getting. I know where I can get certain things. And then they know that there are other players that's like, yo, I ain't going to do nothing in this season unless you give me a reason to do something in this season. So it's like, if I'm going to spend $10 in Eververse, give me a real reason to spend $10, hence the event card.
All I was saying is like, the reason I was getting like slightly frustrated with you, Travis, is your words out of your mouth verbatim were, you have to pay to engage in the event. And I was like, that's wrong. That was my point the entire time, because you do not have to pay to engage. You have to pay if you want cosmetics, some of which you can unlock. That was like my whole point.
My analogy wasn't that you have to pay to engage. It was that you have to pay to get rewarded for the engagement you did.
Well, you didn't say that. That's the difference.
I did. That's what was my raid analogy. I said the treasure chest.
Okay, we got it.
The treasure chest thing doesn't make sense. Wait,
we have clarity.
I have one more thing I want to say, which is that his point was that the old way of doing it, you also wouldn't have been rewarded. And so his point was that the old system was bad. The new system is also bad. That doesn't make it better. We're comparing two bad things. And this is a problem I have with the Destiny community as a whole, is that they don't play other games and they show it every time they open their mouths and say something stupid that just is a big red flag of like, hey, I love swallowing garbage as long as Bungie is holding the ladle, right? And I don't jive with that. And so I just think, you can expect more from your games, because I would be way more likely to do this Dawning event if that card that they gave was, here's all the stuff you get for your engagement, for your time into it. And I think it's a slap in the face of the community to say, here's this event and all the things you can do, and here's the reward list, and you have to pay to do it. That is a ridiculous thing to ask. And I don't have any empathy for them of like, oh, well, they've got to make money somehow.
Can I ask something?
Not my problem.
Just to throw for a little bit of pushback, because this conversation has been going on all throughout, like before this season, into this season. I haven't said much about it, so this is a real good opportunity to say it. Destiny community, like, I love us, but we are spoiled as heck. Like, the standard at which, like, the expectations that we have in general for what we think we should be getting from Bungie is insanely high. Now, I'm not saying that other games developers aren't. Whether they're doing more or not is perspective. Like, I hate comparing, because, like, you don't know. You can't walk a mile in somebody else's shoes unless you've walked a mile in somebody else's shoes, if that makes sense. Like, you can't take Bungie and compare it to Respawn and say, oh yeah, Respawn do a better job. Like, Respawn, they haven't made a successfully selling franchise for as long as Bungie's been doing, with one game that's technically running an engine that's not on a new engine, quote unquote. However you want to look at that, you can go into the technical aspects of it and see that they've done a lot of work, like, under the hood. But what we get for the money that we get is still really good. And let's be honest, what exactly would you add to that event card?
That was my question.
We're already getting loot drops. We're already getting craftable weapons. What's left? There's literally nothing left but cosmetics. So that's all I wanted to say. No offense to anybody else. Apologies if it's offended.
No, not at all.
By that statement, but I want to call a spade a spade. Like, how much more are you gonna add? Because anything else, they literally have to come up with a brand new item to throw on something, whether it be a loot box or an event card or whatever it be, in hopes that the community is going to say, oh yeah, this is sweet. I mean, we get people complain even about exotics. Oh, I want exotics where I can get all the perks that I want. Oh, I want legendary weapons that have exotic level perks. How? That would be like giving everybody an exotic all the time. And even then, like, some of the roles that we get for craftable weapons or seasonal weapons are very, very high. Granted, not everybody gets the same level of RNG, but yeah, I just wanted to push back a little bit, because I feel like the event card just happens to be the subject, but like this topic comes up all the time, and I really don't know what else you would add to quantify. Like, at the end of the day, it's a game. So you either enjoy the parts of it that you can enjoy. There's never ever gonna be like the perfect title. We can get close to it, but ultimately, like, there's gonna be a reason that it's flawed or delayed, or they released it with bugs and now it has to be fixed. Are you patient enough to wait, or are you gonna, like, throw the towel in and call them the worst development company ever. You know, all of these things come into play. But yeah,
I think there's a middle ground, which is that you don't have to be happy with what you got. I think that once you stop
Do I
pushing
wish some of this
developers
stuff
to
was
do better,
earnable? Yeah, I do.
yeah,
I never
exactly.
I never was against that. I was like, believe me, if they threw like if they had 2 different armor sets, one was earnable, one was viable. I don't know what that takes for an artist to do. Do more people engage in the event for a set of ornaments? Do they not? There's that whole debate, I'm sure. But I'm just saying, like, I think what Psalm's saying as well is like, we've talked about the monetization of Destiny being all over the place in like 6 different ways. We know it's expansions and seasons and dungeon keys, and now we got Eververse and Transmog, and it's just like they're piling them on at this point. So the event card's just like the next one that's on there. But again, it's also kind of about the perspective of the way you look at it. Is it anything you actually care about and you want? Do you want to spend the money on it? You may have, then it's something you're like, I really want this one ghost, whatever. Like, I gotta have the beanie ghost for whatever reason, the snow beanie. Who knows? Like, the ear flaps ghost. Like, there's something that speaks to you. That's why they make so many different options, because most of them don't speak to everybody, but they try and get stuff that speaks to somebody. And if they're finally going to get you, see if you spend, $5 or $10 on this thing, then they got you. Somebody's going to go over there in Eververse and buy 3 sets of armor and be and make the whole event card irrelevant when they spend $45 on 3 sets of armor, and it's not going to matter.
I know some people there.
DJ Oros is funding Lightfall for all of us.
I may know of someone whose excitement may not be for the content, but whatever versus go to. I may know of someone.
Sparrow horns, yeah. That's one thing. Like, I have transmat effects. I've got ghost projections. I'm never gonna buy one of those ever, probably. But if there was a sparrow horn that was absolutely ridiculous, let's see. Travis is fighting back now. Travis is fighting back.
Welcome. Hey, I gotta get my microtransactions.
There you go.
I fully respect that, because it's true. Like, no company can run without their monetizable content, and Eververse and the event card is how they make money so that they can keep making Destiny. It is what it is, and so it's just about what option are you comfortable with, like, backing Bungie with, so that they can
we've talked about that on the show so many times, and I think we all agree that the model they have right now isn't the right one. It's not like the perfect one, because they charge you for. The other thing that pisses me off is the fact that the events that happen aren't part of the season pass. Shouldn't my event card be part of the season pass? There's just so many.
You get a set of armor in the season pass.
Okay.
So I'm
talking about the event card in the season pass. Why do I pay for the season, and then there's events that happen in the season that I am excluded from unless I pay more money? You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't really make sense.
I feel like this is the chicken and the egg thing.
I'm like, this can go on forever. It depends on.
I understand what Travis is saying. I want to say that I do understand that, and I do.
Oh, I mean, then at that point, the season could be $15.
No, I get that.
And then you don't lump the seasonal event in there.
I think for me, I always look at what are the competing models, right? And if there is a model that theoretically does it better, that we could kind of pin to and say, okay, this is kind of where this goes, and maybe other games are not doing seasonal passes, including special events that are separate, right? And that I don't know, because I mean, I don't play a lot of other looter shooters or like that to know what the comparison is. That's all I want to know. So we have a reference point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I play a lot of them, and I think that's why I get so frustrated with Destiny, because I feel like
that was my question to you. And my question is what is the game monetization track wise that you feel is fair, that does it better than Destiny, that Destiny should emulate? Because there's like 3 or 4 models that they could pick, and they're kind of doing all of them right now, which is why I get so pissed off at them all the time, is because most games that have a model like Destiny's don't do expansions. They don't pay for full size games, because if you pay for a full game, usually the season pass is for expansions, and then that's pretty much it. And then there's also games where it's completely free to play. You don't have to pay for any of the content, and they just throw microtransactions at you. Destiny doesn't do that either. And then there's the season pass model. Usually the season pass model has microtransactions as well. But in this case, you guys are sort of paying for
everything. I mean, if you truly want to engage in all the stuff that Destiny does, you have to pay if you want to fully engage in the free events. You have to pay for the season passes. You have to pay for the expansions. You know, like Transmog has its own microtransactions attached to it. There's just their hand is in too many pots. And I feel like it's gotten to the point where a lot of Destiny players just go, oh, well, this is the way it was, or that's how they did it last time, or, oh, you know, they have to stay in business somehow. I've never heard players care so much about the health of the company than when I talk to Destiny people, because most players are like, that's not my problem, right? Worry about your own fundraising, right? If you need to go raise money, like, why are you involving me in this, right? I'm the consumer. You should charge me something that's fair. And so I think there's a lot of different models they could borrow from. If they truly want to go free to play, they should do that. I feel like they must have the player base for it. They must have the people microtransacting at this point. And if they wanted to do that, I'd probably forgive them more for the event card and the other stuff they're doing. But this isn't that type of game. It's a premium game with a freemium model and season passes on top of it. It's kind of crazy. And so
do you think okay, question. I'm honestly curious. Do you think asking for something at the scale of Witch Queen is justified for a free-to-play game? And if there is another game that does it on the pace of like 12 to 15 months, I'm just curious, is there anything that releases on the scale of, like, say, a Witch Queen expansion or a Lightfall expansion in free-to-play? Because I don't know what those are. That's what I'm asking.
Warframe. Digital Extremes Warframe. They have mastered the monetize. Like, I love what they do.
Or are they like the only one? Kind of?
No. There's other ones. There's the Dungeons and Dragons one. Whatever that game's called. I used to play that one for a while. There's a lot of games that do that. And granted, they tend to go a little bit closer to pay to win. Like they have a little bit stickier payment models, which, you know, obviously we don't want Destiny to get into, but there's a lot of examples out there of games that have that. And I think you make your money back via all the different ways that people engage, and then they end up buying the season pass. Like, if you can sell somebody a season pass and they do that every season, that's your business model. And the microtransactions are just on top of that. There's also the original model, which I know people don't like to talk about it, but there's the subscription model, World of Warcraft, right? This monthly subscription. That's a thing that a lot of people don't like to hear about, but it's still I view it as sort of old school, but it is something that exists. And if that, honestly, at this point, if you told me, Travis, you could pay a subscription and you'll get everything that's in Destiny, and I won't bother you with microtransactions, I'll take away the Eververse store from your queue and
every month.
I would do it in a heartbeat, right? Because like I'm not going to stop playing Destiny, so I might as well just get rid of the ads and all the stuff that irritates me about it and just pay a monthly subscription. So that's an option too.
Yeah, my final.
But here's the thing, right? With subscription model is that it's not only subscription model. So you're paying monthly, but then you still buying stuff from the cash shop as well. So they're making double the amount from you.
Yeah.
Whereas in Destiny,
yeah,
you pay once, you get the entire, like, if you buy the yearly expansion, for example, depending on what the deal is, sometimes you get a silver bundle thrown in there. Just depends on if Bungie's feeling generous. And then you have the few items or like armor pieces or sets that you want from the Eververse store, right? But at least you don't have to worry about, oh man, Bungie's going to hit me with a $8.99 at the end of the month, $9.99 at the end of the month, again and again and again, or whatever price you want to charge. Like, I remember Final Fantasy 14 online, they started with like, it was a $15.99 subscription. Way back in the day, I was like, oh, I'll do the trial and that's it. I'm out.
Because what
I'm out after that.
I think it seems like, I don't know if a player satisfaction is kind of like an immediate turn off when gamers hear subscription, because I think it's like a model that's really thrived well, like in PC, and maybe it's a console thing. But the last thing I want to say, because I don't want to go along with this, but is that they have mastered the satisfaction model. Because clearly Destiny players love paying for this stuff, because this is to Travis' point, this is one of the only communities that I've seen that really, whether it be the quality of the emotes, the way the game feel, the way the artifacts and the ornaments look, people are out here with the wallet. And they got the data and the telemetry to prove it. So it's like we're our worst enemy because we keep feeding it, right? We keep contributing and saying by our actions, this is okay. And I'm guilty as charged. I was like the dawning ship. I said, I don't want the rest of that, but I want that. Right? And I hit the silver button. I'm guilty as charged. I was the first. When they did an Iron Lord emote, I was like,
oh, yeah, you were there.
That was the debut of $10. I am part of the problem. I know I am. So if it's me, and I'm a guy that's very conservative overall when it comes to microtransactions, stuff like that, there's got to be a ton of DJ Horoses that are feeding this, and they've got the data, and they're like, hey, they ain't gonna pay for all these models that we put in. So I'm guilty as charged. That's where I'm at.
It is true that Destiny are a bunch of obsequious enablers, all the Destiny players. That's for sure true. But I have an aspirational kind of approach to Destiny, and more importantly, I think we all agree that Destiny has health problems on occasion.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
And as an example, I've got a group of friends that recently started playing Destiny. I did not tell them to do it. I tried to ward them off, but they went for it anyway.
To do it.
But they recently started playing, and he went and he bought the collection that's full of a bunch of stuff that's already been put in the vault, and immediately found out that he couldn't play it. Right, so that was like his first what? And he found out that he couldn't play the Witch Queen without buying another expansion. That was his first thing, and then he dealt with the absolutely atrocious New Light thing where he said he logged in and he got 12 cutscenes in a row.
Yes,
and they were like real. They were like the first cutscene for Witch Queen, and then a cutscene for something else, and then a cutscene for a season. And he didn't know who any of the characters were, and he was super lost. And then he got to it, and he was like, "Oh, and I don't have the season pass, and also there's an event going on right now." And basically, he just called me up and like roasted the game. And if Bungie really was serious about growing their player base and growing Destiny as a franchise, they would get rid of some of those barriers of entry. And the biggest barrier of entry are there's all these. It's somebody in the chat said something incredibly stupid, which is that the expansion model is basically a subscription model. It's not, because if you buy the subscription, you have access to all of the content that the game includes right away, as long as you're paying the subscription. And the expansion model is, well, if you want to catch up, you got to pay for 2014, 2015, 2016, and catch up with your wallet, and then get into the actual game. And it's more just about how confusing do you want to make the game, and how hard do you want to make it to get back into it if you've fallen off. And I think that if they took down some of those barriers of entry, the player base could grow, and they would make more money off of microtransactions. So there's that part of it, which is like, do you want Destiny to be around 10 years from now, or do you want them to just bleed dry the people they have now and make it nearly impossible for new people to play?
Criticism. No, that is a valid criticism, and I've thoroughly experienced that as a person who only played one character, Warlock. And because I wanted the Iron Lord title, it forced me to make a Destiny 2 other characters. Doing that process of the 2 other characters, I literally experienced that same thing, cutscene after cutscene. Now, if I put myself in the, new player experience who does not know what's going on, then put myself in a new player experience where they did not buy any of this other content, right? It's really like, wow, I can't even engage. And then the last point I'll say is, which I do think is very unfair, and this is my personal thing, which is, as a person now that they've introduced cross save, right, and cross play, the fact that when I go over now to PC, I don't have Witch Queen, even though I bought it on console. That's BS. Like I literally played for the expansion and all of this on one platform, but because I want to have that flexibility to go from platform to platform, yes, you're saying I could do it, but I now again have to buy the entire expansion over here. That's ridiculous. So I completely hear where you're coming from, and they definitely, if they truly want to grow the New Light experience and make the game bigger, I completely agree with you on that point.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the biggest thing is I still think like the old expansions should start being free. Like for sure, Forsaken and Shadowkeep should be free. They are too old. Most of that content is generally irrelevant. The weapons there's no origin traits. The weapons are not like fresh. Like you go run through for a Pinnacle, but that is literally it. Like there's a Pinnacle that you can get from there if it's in rotation that week. Like those need to be free. And you would actually give some of those people like, hey, you could do the Forsaken, which doesn't even have a story involved, so that should not be like. At least Shadowkeep would let them have the first expansion that does this Pyramid Saga free. Start the story. At least that. Now, granted, I also think Beyond when Lightfall comes, Lightfall comes out, Beyond Light 100% should be free as well, because at that point Stasis is 2 years old. But again, they're gonna like if Lightfall comes out and Shadowkeep is still something you can buy and it's this Legacy collection. That is mind-boggling to me. So I'm with you on that one. There's a point, especially the new player adapted model. And again, that's why I think we all wonder the same thing. And when you said it perfectly, Travis, the idea that they want to bleed the rock, there's nothing left. You can't get blood from a stone. Like they're going to get to that point with some of their players and they're like, I'm out. Like they finally don't want to do it anymore. Or as you said, you have friends that come in and if they get that outside perspective, that's like, oh, you went through all of that. It's like, what else do you play? Let me go check out that other game.
He's excited to play Lightfall.
I know. I've heard you guys talk about it too.
I'm like, I don't know. We got to see. I heard they have a new onboarding process.
No, do not oversell that. I wanted to walk into your podcast so hard. There was one time when you were like, "Oh yeah, they got this thing set up." I'm like, no. I don't think it's quite that. The ranks.
I am not overselling it. Yeah, I just said that they're looking to improve. But Maddie is going to come from a Travis-like perspective, like Travis's friend-like perspective, which has no idea what's going on. Has not played, and if he comes in there and they go, okay, hey, welcome to new Lightfall, you can play that. But with this hot Witch Queen, this whole thing that everybody was loving that you heard about, $40, fam. You ready? You ready to get back into that? In the whole subclass or whatever, or an exotic that you heard about? You gotta have to pay that $40 to get in, man. That's that VIP. That will frustrate people. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with Lightfall.
I almost proposed bringing my friend on this show because he's a streamer, and I was like, we could just have you tell us about your entire onboarding process. I was playing with him for like 2 hours, and the entire time he would not stop talking about all the stuff he hated. He was like talking about currencies. I was like, oh, dude, you're speaking to my soul with that one. You know, he's talking about all this stuff, and it was hilarious because there were so many things I never thought of. He was just like. He did an impression. He was like an Ubijube from the planet Margadong. Did all these cutscenes he didn't understand, and he was just like, "What is this?"
Yeah, they do funny, random every time you log it. It just keeps going.
Yeah, it does a random one. Yeah,
like it's like it's playing an automatic algorithm catch up on cinemas.
Yeah,
you don't know when it's gonna happen. Yeah. You just log.
He said, I turned on my PC. I logged into Destiny. It told me about this Lady Savathun that was a problem. And then I got into the game and I found out that I couldn't go and do that mission, even though I bought the collector's edition. And so I got mad and turned it off. And then the next day I turned it back on and there were some robots making out. And he was like, I had no idea what was happening. He was like, did they just make a new game while I was gone for one day? Like he was freaking out, dude. It was so funny.
Oh man. Well,
yeah,
that's funny.
We are.
I was going to say that what's really weird is we're technically at that place we were when Forsaken was
pending.
DCV. Destiny's currently sitting at 100 gig. Is it now? The file size, something close to that. So I'm really interested to see how this transition to Lightfall is gonna go and what they're gonna be taking away, because they're definitely gonna take something away for sure.
Taking away 60 FPS.
You had a good job.
We're going back to 30, baby. Going back to 30. Hey man, that'll get the file size down to like what, 240, something like that.
We decided to sunset the frame. Yo, that 12 would be crazy.
Hey, they said they're not getting rid of anything. No, not vaulting anything. Yeah.
Too funny.
What if they did a vault reduction? Would you guys be down?
Vault reduction?
See, now he do about
vault reduction. They remove 100 vault slots in order to get the game.
Well, that's a bad idea.
The button now he's like, yeah, how far y'all willing to go for this? What if they got rid of it?
No, they add an event card. It costs $10 if you want those 100 slots back.
Shut his mic.
All right, and that's where we're going to wrap up the show this evening.
Yes.
But in seriously, we are actually at 2.5 hours, so we probably do need to wrap this thing up. Psalm, man, it has been fantastic. I know we've been all over the place tonight, but it has been an absolute pleasure getting to know you, getting a chance to talk with you. Definitely been a big fan of you for a while, so glad we finally got you on the show to chat. Kind of at this point, if anybody made it to the end of this episode, for one, thank you for making it here. If you've been listening all the way through, watching all the way through, and you made it here, tell people where they can find you, what to look for, if you got any content you're working on, your channels, the platform is yours. So let them know where, outside of talking about, your Rabbi Bill Clinton, you can leave that part out, but everything else.
Yo, you try to demonetize yourself.
What?
If anybody gets that joke, you watch something on Thursday. Anyway.
Yes.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for having me, Cog and Travis. It's been such a pleasure and fun. It's good to just kick back and relax and laugh and talk about Destiny and be overly passionate about this game.
Yeah, overly today.
I don't. Yeah. Sometimes I don't even know why we're this passionate, but yeah, we love it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you're looking for me, it's PsalmLab everywhere on Twitter and YouTube, especially. I have some lore videos coming up over the next couple of days. One is going to be talking about the Witness and the Traveler. I have another one talking about Asher Muir and some other OG characters. Yeah. So yeah, you
Asher
can look
Muir
out for
was
those.
actually based on me. I don't know if you guys know.
Yeah. He's your representation.
Makes sense. Yeah, I can see that.
I can totally see that.
Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, have a update video coming out about the Old Chicago series, which I'm doing. Which if you haven't heard about that, it's a Destiny animated web series that I'm working on with quite a cool team of people. Neen Kin being one of them. He's the animator, and it's good. It's really good. We've got a team of really talented voice actors. They're all just incredible. So I can't wait for you guys to see and hear.
I'm excited. That's what's up. That's fire. Look, man, huge fan of you. I'm very proud of you because, I remember you in our early chats, you know what I mean, kind of thing. And just to see your journey has been really inspiring. I love how much you care about the lore. And as a person, I'm like a fake lore nerd. Like I like it, but I just ain't willing to put it to work. So I'm just like, I'm gonna go to the guys that put it in, and you put it in. The passion is there. I was really proud when you got celebrated. You know what I'm saying, by Bungie and recognized. That really made me smile. You've been killing it for a long time. This is long overdue. And yeah, man, definitely had you back, man. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad you had fun with all our foolishness here and things. But yeah, man,
a little spicy meatball tonight, but it's always fun.
Look, man, that's what we do. That's why that's the last word. But yeah, congratulations, brother. Very, very proud of you. Very proud.
Thank you.
No doubt.
Well, Travis, do you get to go to bed at a reasonable hour, get a little sleep?
Not tonight, but soon.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta get through a couple things, but yeah, I'm almost there. Yeah, you can read my recent reviews. Choo Charles, which is a bad game you shouldn't play. High on Life, which is a better game that maybe you'll want to play. Although if you're the type to clutch your pearls, probably not. And yeah, if you're, it's not for the faint of heart. If you have children, maybe wear a headset.
Please wear a headset.
The game's ridiculous though. And yeah, and you can find my previews of One Piece Odyssey and Superfuse live on IGN.com or on YouTube. And yeah, other than that, I'll just be here fighting my Destiny friends and having nobody like me for it.
That's why we love you, brother.
My goal.
I was gonna say we don't have to like you, but we love you. That's the difference.
Exactly. I gotta like you.
Good.
We like you.
Good. Yeah. That's nice.
But that's it was like you're gonna disagree the most with the people you love. That's just how it works. So
true. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, but it's it doesn't make it feel any better that no one likes me. See, this
is you were good on the previous self-deprecating. Now we're just getting getting sad Travis.
Now we're just getting sad
Travis. Yeah,
sad Trav.
Look, it's all love here. All right. I just wish that also liked me like you do to each other. You know what I mean? Because you guys also like and love each other.
Listen, the Cabal's
Psalm,
love
it's
the
nice to have
Scion.
you.
You're our
Glad I
Scion.
You're our Scion escort.
You're my
Shut up.
favorite Scion.
Okay. I don't need to be liked, okay? I'm fine. Yeah.
And
Psalm,
on that
it's awesome.
note,
Thanks for letting me grill you. You're an awesome dude. Cog, did you already do your sign off? Should I hand it
No,
to you?
I'll do mine. I'll do mine after you finish. Yeah, look, man, fantastic show. Again, you know me, LordCognito on Twitter. The Friday Duke wrapped up. We got the episodes out, so we're gonna take a break, an extended break that I'm looking forward to. Holidays are coming. Saturday we'll do probably a birthday stream with Gaming Act. Lord Attic, he was in here. Probably just play some games, probably some Halo. Anybody wants to jump in, we'll do that. I'm gonna catch up on a lot of games, y'all. A lot of games. I'm looking forward to catching up. And Sunday will be probably the last ILP for the year. And yeah, looking forward to the new year. Love you, fools. It's been fantastic and fun, but I need some time. Cog needs to recharge. I want to see a mic for a little bit and just play games, enjoy the holidays. And yeah, man, that's what I'm looking forward to. But E, what you got going on in your schedule? First of all, congratulations, E. I got to give you your props. Gaming to Give, little like charity, doing the damn thing, recognized by Bungie. Super proud of this dude too. You know what I'm saying? And look, you're killing it, brother. You're killing it. Everyone's killing it. Trav's killing it on IGN. Some of the best reviews, the number one reviewer in the game.
Number one reviewer. I want to see that. I want to see that plaque. Like, come on.
Oh, hold on, yeah. Ryan McCaffrey, you got to say my man name. Stop referencing. Yeah, we got a review up. And it was our review. Say my man name. I'm gonna hit him in the deal. I need to see some Trav love kind of higher up.
I checked out that episode because I was like, oh, they're gonna talk about High on Life, and I thought they were gonna have you on there. I was like, kind of hoping you'd be there, but
I'm gonna have to hit the OG up. Be like, look, show some respect on my man Numbers. Right, he's doing the thing over there. He's the number one scorer.
I would have been there. Well, I think I got there late because we like to finish our games before we put a score on them. Called out. I'm just kidding. Yeah, there's also some secret stuff you can discover after you beat the game that I could tell a lot of reviewers didn't find because they complained about the lack of ending. There is an ending, you just have to search for it. So anyway, yeah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the love.
Always.
The rare love here on the panel.
That rare Scion love, brother. You know,
rare Scion love.
Turbo baby, Turbo. E, what you got?
Yeah, just still putting out as many videos as I can before the YouTube basically
holiday algorithm
goes. Then when the holiday money shuts off for YouTube.
We done made it back today, baby. What's your man name?
Christopher Sharp. Yeah, you spread some love for the holidays. Appreciate it big time. Yeah.
Big presents.
But yeah, you want to talk about a whole difference between December and January for every YouTuber. If you've ever seen, like, I will say, like, right now, Astrocross is putting out a video, I swear, every, like, 6 hours, because he is making everything he can, because in January, it's a different animal. But yeah, if you've done YouTube, you know that. But honestly, no, I'm just kind of digesting everything I can for the season. I got my big how to solo the dungeon guide out. It's like 90 minutes long, but it's a complete walkthrough of every secret, every hidden chest, like, full gameplay on each of the bosses. So I'm going to work on doing my solo flawless. We've got the exotic quest coming next week. If you guys haven't listened to Mercules and Chris Proctor on Firing Range, Mercules talks about this is his exotic that he made. He had a bunch of fun with it. Like, that's what's coming. Oh, so yeah, you are going to want to log in on Tuesday and play because it's the quest and then his exotic. There's multiple catalysts. There's like 3 or 4 catalysts for this thing. So I got stuff I'll be doing next week as well. So that's next. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Lots of stuff coming.
Let's give a shout out to DMG, right? Who
yeah, DMG is moving on to at the end of December 2023. He will no longer be with Bungie. He is moving on to maybe taking a break, probably first, I would guess, kind of, help mental health from a community manager and a thankless job. So shout out to GMG. You've been holding down the fort for a while. Took that reign after Deej, and hopefully goes on somewhere and has another good gig coming up because he held down a very thankless fort for quite a long time.
Yes, absolutely. True. Yeah. Community manager loves. Salute to him.
But other than that, thank you guys very much. Long episode, but pre-holidays, this might give you a little extra to listen to if you're running around and shopping or dealing with traffic or whatever road trips you got going on. But thank you guys very much. Psalm, of course, This show wouldn't have been the same without you. So thank you very much. Thank you for putting up with our antics as well. Travis, thank you. Wouldn't be a show. Wouldn't be a show without you, man. And then Cog, of course, enjoy the holidays. I don't know if we're going to have a show for the next couple of weeks. I'm going to check on that with Travis just because I know Cog's got some traveling and stuff. I know Travis and I are doing a little less of that. So we'll just see if there's stuff we want to do, if we want to take a break. So just, stay tuned. You guys know we'll be back soon. Depending on if the exotic quest next week is like crazy, I might have to see about at least reining Travis in. So we'll find out. But episode 228. Been amazing. It's been a long one of the longest in a while. So thank you guys very much. And for this episode, it has been the last word.